This podcast is part of the Deluxe Edition Network. To find other great shows on the network, head over to deluxeeditionnetwork.com. That's deluxeeditionnetwork.com.
Hey everybody, this is Chase from Barrel Age Flicks. Go ahead and check out our Patreon for raw, uncut footage and early access to all of our episodes. The link is in the description, and it's only $5 a month. Thanks for listening.
Listen, mister, I'm getting awful tired of your...
I'm getting tired of your gas. Now jerk that pistol and go to work. I said throw down, boy. You gonna do something or just stand there and bleed?
Mr. Holliday, forgive me if I don't shake hands.
You're so drunk you can't hit nothing. In fact, you're probably seeing double.
I have two guns, one for each of you.
I walk around this town and look these people in the eye, it's just like someone's slapping me in the face. These people are afraid to walk down the street, and I'm trying to make money off that like some goddamn vulture. If we're gonna have a future in this town, it's gotta have some law and order.
I've not yet begun to defile myself.
Those cowboys been telling everybody in town they're gonna clean you out.
You'll have cowboys coming around looking for trouble from here to Christmas. You wanna risk all that over a misdemeanor?
Damn right I'll risk it. They're breaking the law.
What do you want, Ringo?
I want your blood. I want your soul. Don't any of you have the guts to fight for blood?
I'm your huckleberry.
You called down the thunder, well now you got it.
Why, Johnny Ringo. You look like somebody just walked over your grave.
Fight's not with you, Holiday.
I beg to differ, sir. We started a game we never got to finish. Play for blood, remember?
I was just fooling about.
I wasn't.
Let's finish it.
Indeed, sir. The last charge of Wyatt Earp and his immortals.
Hey everybody, this is Barrel Age Flicks. I'm Lenny, yeah man, and this is...
Hey, this is Ron. Let's drink and talk some movies.
And
Hey guys, this is Sammy. Let's do this.
we also have...
What's going on, you fucking nerds? This is Tyler. Let's talk about some modern mythology.
And finally...
This is Stu. Let's drink, motherfucker. Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to Barrel Age Flicks.
You ain't no Daisy.
I'll be a huckleberry. So, we are going to be doing the movie Tombstone. This is Tyler's pick, and of course, he picked the alcoholic drink that we're going to be having. So, what are we having, Tyler?
All right, so we're having High West Whiskey Campfire. So this was made in Park City, Utah. The distiller got the idea for this whiskey while on a trip to the Bruichladdich distillery in Islay, Scotland. They were actually staying in a bed and breakfast out there. And for those of you that are unaware, Islay is known for its peated whiskeys, and the barley is dried with peat rather than like electric heat or coal, and it gives it like this the smoky flavor that I'm especially partial to. So while the very sweet ladies preparing their meals at the bed and breakfast, they made this dessert with peated whiskey and sugar. This got the distiller thinking, why not make a peated sweet bourbon?
Oh my God, it smells amazing.
So what we got out of that was Campfire, High West Whiskey Campfire. So they blended bourbon, rye, and peated Scotch, finished in French and Hungarian oak cask to make this Frankenstein's monster of a whiskey. Family of mine know that I'm a big fan of peated whiskeys, and they were gracious enough to gift this to me. This is not a cheap bottle of whiskey at all.
No, it wasn't.
No, and I'm very, very thankful. And without further ado,
I'm fucking excited. Cheers, guys.
Roast.
Ooh.
Slow down there, Ron. He needs a minute.
Oh, that's some really good. I like that.
Yeah.
I like the burn. I love the taste. I could taste the... Oh, I'm sorry. I'm having kind of... I love
We'll
it.
now be charging $2.99 a minute.
fucking Barrel Age Flicks.
This is something I've been waiting for because we've been doing many cocktails and beers, and I love whiskey. This is it. 2 thumbs up. Fucking way up. I love the taste. I love how smooth it is. Drinking it neat, of course. This is good. I kudos to you, man. This is great.
Yep.
Good pick.
Stu.
Definitely 2 thumbs up. Campfire, perfect name for it. Really is. It's got that nice burn to it, but not in like a low end alcohol type way. It's still super smooth with the burn, and very few liquors that I've come across are able to balance that as well as they are with this. Wonderful texture almost to the taste. Very good job. Very fucking good job. I'm very impressed with this.
I'm probably going to be finding this bottle and buying one, seriously, for my bar. I like this stuff. Good stuff.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm glad you guys like it because I'm actually not a huge fan of it.
Give it to me.
Yeah. I was like, can I have it, please?
Yeah, I'll take it. I will take that in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, no, it's for me, it's like it's basically a one thumbs because it's still peated whiskey, like, and I do enjoy it. However, I don't think that these guys quite have the experience that like some of the like the older distilleries like Lagavulin and Lefroy and Le Bruichladdich over there in Scotland. Yeah. They don't have like the experience that they do to make like their whiskeys as smooth and as seasoned as they have. Mm-hmm. They're definitely trying to copy what they've done and maybe add something to it. They're adding things together that maybe don't necessarily need to be added together. And part of the reason why I don't like it maybe is probably because I don't like rye whiskeys.
Right.
So the rye and
But rye.
Shut the fuck up.
Sorry, it was low-hanging fruit. It was right there.
Funny.
Funny.
Scooby-Doo. Right.
By the way, Tyler, tell us about the glass that you're drinking out of. What's on the glass?
Oh, yeah. So this is actually a glass that I bought from Lone Star Etching. They're a very, very great company out of Texas, if you can figure that out. And on the glass is a picture of Doc Holliday, and it says, "I have not yet begun to defile myself."
Fucking love that line. Fucking love
great.
it.
But yeah, no, one thumbs up for the whiskey. It's not bad. However, the amount of money that for the whiskey was probably not really worth it. I believe the tag on it said like $90.
Okay.
Really?
Okay, never mind.
Yeah. So you see what I'm saying? So you see what I'm saying?
Whiskey.
Yeah.
Yeah, so bourbons like here in the States are typically not very, very expensive. You can get like, a Pappy or something like that that's more expensive because of how rare it is.
Right.
But bourbons in general are cheaper over here in the States than they are like overseas because obviously it's an import over there and it's a little bit more rare. So when I buy a bourbon, I don't really expect to spend a lot of money. But this for $90 just quite really isn't worth it.
So what would you say it's worth? Like, what do you think is a good price range for it?
Like $40.
Okay, I can see that.
I absolutely no. I'd be very happy for this $40 bottle. But this isn't like a Jameson to me where I'm just shooting it.
No, Jameson is number one.
This is just a nice sitting around sipping whiskey, shooting the shit with people.
Yep.
And like I said, the campfire is just because it gives you that warmth and stuff like that. That is perfect. But not for $90.
Yeah.
I will definitely say that.
Yeah, no, like as you said, I do wholly agree with you that the name is definitely fitting because it definitely has that smokiness, it definitely has that burn, that you kind of get from
So that's what I love about
from
it.
A campfire. But it's not $90 worth.
Well, see, that's the thing. I remember we go back to our first episode of Aliens when we did the screwball, and what I hated about it is I didn't like it didn't have a burn. It was just more of a sweet taste. It didn't taste like whiskey. I enjoyed this. Maybe it's because we really haven't had any for the last couple episodes a lot of episodes we haven't really done a whiskey in a while. So it's kind of nice to have that again. And I enjoyed it. But the price range, I'd probably go about the same, about maybe $40, $50 for the bottle or something like that. I mean, I trust me, I'd take Black Barrel over anything. That's just my drink right there. But I overall enjoyed it. I mean, I still thought it was a pretty decent whiskey. So
yeah, no, I'm glad you guys liked it. So we ready to get into the movie?
Yes. Yeah, let's go ahead and get in the movie.
All right, so I'm really excited to talk about this movie. This is one of my favorite movies. It's so quotable, so great. It's such a dude film. That when we were making our list of films that we wanted to cover, this was absolutely on there.
Oh yeah. This ranks them on with Predator, with Aliens, with Tombstone. I mean, it ranks in that whole guys for movies that like, or what's that thing from TNT? It was movies that guys love, or guys
movies for guys who love movies.
Yes, yeah. Sorry, I got all confusing and everything, but yeah,
it's the epitome of the modern day Western.
Yes.
All right. I mean, not to take away credit from Unforgiven. Unforgiven, still another wonderful modern Western.
I'm glad you brought that up. I did a poll for which one was better, Unforgiven or Tombstone, and everybody picked Tombstone. Tombstone was the number one.
Amazing. I think from the cast.
There was only a couple that picked Unforgiven, but most people all picked Tombstone. Yeah. So,
and I'll even say, this is, as a chick, this is one of my favorite films. It's just freaking amazing. Yes. It is just a great solid Western with a solid cast and
a huge cast.
I know so many A-list actors are in this, even in like itty bitty parts.
Yes.
And I'm sorry, I am pretty sure that I may have been Doc Holliday at one point in my life because he is my spirit animal. I love him.
Or are you
so
his
much.
Hungarian whore?
No. Straight up Doc. Amazing, just fantastic.
I'm glad you brought up like Predator and Aliens and everything like that, because those movies I really loved as a child. I'm not really entirely sure why. Probably because like the characters were a little bit more straightforward.
Right.
You know, you had the aliens, which were obviously these evil, terrifying things. The humans were obviously the one you wanted to root for. They were the good guys because, you know, we're humans.
Right.
So
the Marines.
at least as far as I know.
Are we?
Have any reptiles in this room? So shape.
Nom
You
nom.
found me out.
You sounded like the alien from Enemy Mine. The way you just did that.
Yes, you did.
You seriously
that was
did.
his reference.
So
Which was kind of reptilian, right?
this,
You're right.
Fuck me. All right. I have another fucking king shark and
Nom nom.
conversation. A starfish is shaped like a butthole. Is there a connection? Just shoot me now. Fuck it, I'll shoot.
It's a slang term for butthole, not shaped like a butthole. God, if you're gonna quote it right.
So I like those movies like as soon as I saw them. When I saw Tombstone when I was younger, I didn't like it as much.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't because I was too young to understand the complexities of the characters.
Guess what? Same.
Yeah,
It's exactly
see,
the same.
not me.
'Cause
I was raised on John Wayne.
Yeah.
Like that was a standard.
I didn't care for Westerns when I was younger. Actually, Westerns were boring to me. And through age, I've actually grown to love Westerns even more than a lot of genres today. I actually love Westerns.
My father, religious watcher of Westerns,
Yep.
all throughout my childhood.
My tattoo, John Wayne, basically.
And he even had some movie posters. He actually had the Tombstone poster, up in his little man cave area. And so he'd end up sitting down and watching it the first time with him.
Was he a spaghetti Western fan?
He was, no, he wasn't a big spaghetti Western fan. It really wasn't. It was more of the classic,
Gotcha.
Westerns like that. But the one who showed me Unforgiven, Tombstone, all of them. It
Good,
was
bad, ugly.
through
Dirty
him.
Harry, all of them. High Noon.
Dirty Harry, I don't consider a Western.
What is your top 3 Westerns? I mean, that's a great question to ask.
So all mine would be modern.
What, modern ones?
Like the Hateful Eight, even though like Django Unchained isn't a Western per se, but it definitely has a lot of the same like kind of tropes out of it. It would be Tombstone, and beyond that, man, I really can't I wouldn't be able to put any. I really can't think of anything else off the top of my head like that. Just jumps springs to mind.
Well, shit, I'll just go ahead
Back
and
to
name.
the Future 3.
I was
Outlaw
actually.
Josie Wells.
I said Back to the Future 3. That's funny you say that because I actually really dig that movie.
I was gonna say see, that was his.
It was
Western
slightly
as a kid.
sci-fi Western. If I were to go with my top 3, I'd go Tombstone. I'd go Hateful Eight. Actually, that'd be that's actually one of my favorite Tarantino films.
It's a really, really good movie.
And I know this is underrated, but I love Open Range with Kevin Costner.
I'm surprised that you didn't say Dances with Wolves.
Dances with Wolves really isn't a Western.
What?
I wouldn't call it like a cowboy Western. That's what I'm talking about. It's more of Civil War, and
when I was talking about like how Django isn't necessarily a Western, it feels like a Western. Dances with Wolves is a Western, but it doesn't feel like a Western, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
no, I guess
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So one that I had left out, and I can't believe it. It's another great Kurt Russell movie. Is Bone Tomahawk.
Good movie.
Ooh.
Yes, good. That's more of like Western horror, basically.
Brutal.
Yeah.
For me, it would definitely be McClintock because again, that was a staple. I'd have to throw North to Alaska, but there you go. Again, big. My dad was huge John Wayne. I would say the original and the remake of True Grit. I liked those both. And then my third would definitely have to be Tombstone.
Yeah. No, that's a good list. How about you, Stu?
I'm going to have to go Good, Bad, and the Ugly.
Good one.
All right, classic. It's the... exactly. All right. Tombstone would be my number 2. And probably Unforgiven to round out the number 3. I do lean more towards modern Westerns.
You're a big Clint Eastwood fan more than anything.
I do. I love Clint. I really do. But I mean, that's why.
No, because 2 of your movies were Clint Eastwood.
Okay, that's because Clint did a boatload of them, but so did John Wayne, so did
Oh, true.
a lot of them, and stuff like that. You know, Clint just happened to do a boatload of Western. He took the mantle from Wayne, basically.
Right. No, I completely understand. Have you seen Open Range?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that's a great movie. I think that's a well-made Western, great shootout scene at the end, great villain. I just thought it was a well-made movie. It's very underrated, too.
So just to me, the grittiness and the reality of Unforgiven just really sinks in and, you know, secures itself as a top 3 to me.
Back to Tombstone.
Yeah, so I didn't appreciate this movie until much older in life. I did like it as a child, but I didn't like it the way I liked Aliens and Predator and everything.
Yeah.
So this movie was definitely much more important to me as I got older because I kind of saw, you know, grew up, gained life experience, you know, had a much better understanding of what it meant to be moral and ethical. And the characters, you definitely kind of saw like a lot more of their flaws. And do you guys ever heard like of Andrew Doyle? He's the writer of the book Woke. He had like the Twitter handle to Tanya McGrath. Basically,
No,
he's a satirist of woke culture. Anyways, so he was on a podcast with Jordan Peterson. And he was talking about how he explained that simple concepts of good and evil are really, really prevalent in children's stories because they're evil to understand. The good guys are always altruistic and competent, and the bad guys are just plainly evil. Right. A lot of the time, they have no backstory to how they became the way that they are. Their motives aren't really clear; they're just clearly evil.
Yeah.
And we've seen this with some of the lackluster Marvel villains. Some of the guys they're just bad. What was the purple dude from fucking what was it? It was.
You're talking about Drax?
The
Inquisitor.
Thanos thugs, Thanos thug or
the
whatever.
Inquisitor,
the one with the big hammer.
Yeah.
Fucking Justice League prior to the Snyder cut, what's his name?
Steppenwolf,
whatever.
Yeah.
These big bad characters. And they really didn't have much of a backstory. They're just evil just to be evil.
Yeah.
And and that's great for kids because you have this big bad or whatever that you're meant to hate.
Yeah.
And there's no complexities to them. This movie is not like that. So as we get older, we start to become more interested in stories with more complex characters, like anti-heroes, such as Mad Max or Scarface, and villains that we actually sympathize with.
Punisher.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Great. And we start to become more in love with villains that we actually kind of sympathize with, like the new Joker.
Yeah.
And Bill the Butcher.
One of my favorite characters in all of cinema history. I love Bill the Butcher.
Yeah. And the reason why I believe that this movie became more important to me as I get older is because I suppose as we get older, we begin to realize that life is not simple, but it's actually rather quite complex.
Right.
And that's why we gravitate towards these stories. Ironically enough, I cited Marvel as having simple villains, but some of my favorite movies, some of my favorite Marvel movies from the series are actually like Winter Soldier and Civil War because there actually is a lot of ambiguity about who the good guys are, and who the bad guys are. You're not really sure in those movies, like Winter Soldier especially. I remember watching that movie and being so fucking locked in because you're watching the film and you don't know who's good and who's bad, who's Hydra, and who's fucking SHIELD. You don't know. And in some of those cases, they were the same person.
Yeah, because you almost saw even Black Widow and
Nick Fury
were bad, but it wasn't true, but it made it look like that they were. So
I was locked the fuck in because of that.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that's honestly it's the maturation. When you're a child or you have children and you're explaining concepts, you do black and white, good, bad, very, very. When you become an adult, you almost start deciphering the many levels of gray.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that there is a lot more to it. There's always two sides to every argument. There's always all of these points and counterpoints that you just don't have the capability of deciphering as a child. Which I think makes it for that much richer of a film experience, a story experience, when you have these really complex characters that at one moment you're like, oh man, I could totally get behind them. You're like, oh, that guy, he's such a dick. That contrasting and that confliction, it's present in all of us. And I think it's really, really awesome to see it on film.
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And Civil War was really, really great because it was literally, you have good guys fighting good guys, and they're fighting over matters of freedom and privacy and liberty.
Yeah.
So with that, we'll go and get into the individual characters themselves and talk about what makes these characters interesting and what makes them different than your Superman.
Yeah. No.
All right. So Wyatt Earp.
You gonna do something or just stand there and bleed?
Wyatt Earp is an obligate hero. He's unable to ignore justice and just to live a normal life that does not involve punishing evil where he sees it. Wyatt even starts off as selfish, ignoring the call to arms to be a protector of the town, but eventually gives in to doing what he knows is right. An example of this is when Curly Bill shoots the marshal with the marshal.
Yeah.
And Wyatt comes out and pistol whips him. And Wyatt actually stands off with the Cowboys and the entire town. He stands off against the Cowboys who want Bill set free and the townspeople that want him hanged. And Wyatt rebukes both of them. And he demands that Bill stands trial as the law prescribes. No matter how honorable of a person this makes Wyatt, he is not without immorality. So he runs questionable businesses where they obtain money and property so rapidly that it has to be unethical. There's no way that they went into what was it, the Oriental or something like that?
Yeah. And kicked it over percentages, raking in money over fist, all this crazy.
Which is funny because he did it in such a way that by dethroning in a way
Billy Bob Thornton,
Johnny Tyler,
and
and putting a bully in his place and kicking him out and everything, and he did that as an honorable person should. But then he turns around and it makes it this business that's incredibly successful. But you're they're obtaining a lot of money and a lot of property.
Awfully lucrative.
There's something
shady.
There's something going on here.
Yeah.
And what I really like about that is right after he kicks out Johnny Tyler it wasn't even that. It was later on. They get into a conversation. He gets into a conversation with Doc. Mm-hmm. And he says well, Doc, you always said gambling's an honest business, and he's just no, I said that poker is an honest business.
Yeah,
everything else the opposite.
Because they're playing what is it, Roke or Row? What's the game that they're playing? It's not poker.
Oh, see, you asked me what it is, and I can't remember what it is now.
I'm gonna have to look it up.
Yeah,
it's gonna bother me now.
But either way, it
was some of the house has the advantage,
pretty much everything in Vegas.
Exactly.
To make their money.
And Doc's point is, poker, you're playing the person, not the house.
Yeah,
this is true.
All right.
Yeah, and to that, Wyatt says well, nobody's holding a gun to their head, and Doc's well, that's what I love about Wyatt. He can talk himself into anything, and it's just he's kind of he molds his morals and his ethics to how it fits him. Yeah. While he is an honorable person, absolutely, and he's brave and he's courageous, and and he does a lot of things that most of us would sort of shrivel up against. He jumps right into it, and he does it without an unshaking hand. That is Wyatt. He doesn't shy away from it. And you got to love that about the guy. So
he's my ultimate.
I want to make a
character.
counterpoint though of something that you said that he had been doing some shady stuff to make money hand over fist. He came in there, did the honorable thing, threw out Johnny and stuff like that. Okay. No, that may have been honorable, but that was a business decision. So for 25% of the house take, he's providing the gambling, which draws
honest gambling.
It's still, it's just like a casino. Well, plain and simple. But it's drawing in customers to that saloon, to the Oriental. So the owner of the Oriental, he's giving away 25% of the house take, and he's getting protection. He's getting the crowds and allowing Wyatt and his brothers to run the gambling aspect and be able to take their winnings, which is a fair and equitable trade, in my opinion.
Yeah, like you said, nobody's holding their gun to their
exactly.
When they trying to open their own place?
That's Las Vegas, Atlantic City, everything. Oh, but the fucking idiot tax the goddamn lottery.
So here's the game that they're playing. It's the game Pharaoh, and it is apparently a French gambling card game, in which case winning or losing occurs when cards are turned up by the banker match those that are already exposed. So basically, if you beat the house, you get the money, but it's one of those games where it's super easy to win. Therefore, you're more likely to just keep pushing and pushing, and then you will literally lose all your shit. You'll lose your church to the house, basically.
Yeah, it's like playing roulette. You can go red or black, and you have a 50-50 shot of winning.
Yeah, and so you think the odds are in your favor, but the more you play it, the more you press it, basically.
Yeah. And that's where I lost everything.
Now I live in a box.
Yeah, no, I really enjoy roulette, but it's a conversation for another time. One thing you cannot argue is the fact that he cheated on his wife.
Oh my gosh!
Sammy had an issue with this throughout the whole movie. In fact,
it was so annoying.
You didn't like Wyatt Earp's character altogether because of what he was doing.
My boy's Doc Holliday.
when he walked back in after first having that weird, picnic horse ride date shit with the
the mayor was in heat.
I'm glad,
oh my
I'm
gosh.
glad you have the same disregard for that scene that I do.
It was weird.
No, it was
fucking weird.
I didn't like the ending scene with him dancing outside in the snow.
It was
I know.
such
We'll
garbage.
get into that.
Okay.
I want to ask you guys later, like about the ending of this movie. So Wyatt he's absolutely, like as I said before, he's an obligate hero, but he is not without his own flaws.
He's completely flawed. That's what he is.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Which is fine.
But
it makes
you know what? That
relatable.
makes more for realistic when you think about it, because anybody who is perfect is not a real person. Nobody's perfect. So,
yeah.
I mean, you guys would agree, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I'm not perfect.
Far from it.
You're not married to me. Shut your face.
Thank you.
I think I'm awesome. Hand.
I really wish we didn't see the
That's
Suicide
wrong
Squad
job.
before this shit. I really fucking. I feel like we maybe should have done like the tasting room before we did this, because we're all like chomping at the fucking bit.
For Suicide Squad. There's just too many. It's too good.
It's not too good.
No.
It's all right. It's aight.
No, it's not.
And you guys have already, the thing is,
It's
you
not
guys
even all right. It's a ghetto aight.
and y'all have already listened to our tasting room episode of Suicide Squad. So that's the funny thing.
Spoiler, there's going to be that. So anyways,
It already was that.
It already was there.
What?
Yeah,
Yes.
it's gonna be released in like
tea is
this thing
good.
could be released for another 2 weeks after that. So,
So Doc Holliday,
oh yeah,
another
I love
fucking
him so much.
great character from this film, and a real person. Like, let's not forget, like this movie is, while it is loosely based on fact and events that actually happened, this was a true living and breathing man. So Doc Holliday, as Wyatt Earp said, he was a dentist whom necessity had made a gambler. He was a gentleman whom disease had made a frontier vagabond. He was a philosopher whom life had made who had made a caustic wit, and a long, lean, ash blonde fellow, nearly dead with consumption, and at the end of the same time, the deadliest man with a sex gun that I had ever known.
That's cool.
That's a realistic side of it, basically.
That's a real life quote.
That's something that Wyatt Earp actually said about him.
Oh, wow.
Because remember, like when Doc is finally dying in bed.
Yeah,
I cried so much
of the consumption,
so much.
which was a term at the time for tuberculosis. When he was in bed dying of tuberculosis, he had handed him a book that had
My friend Doc Holliday.
yeah, and he handed him a book, and I'm not sure if this quote is from that. But Wyatt had written quite a bit about his best friend Doc, and that was something that he had actually said about him, and really what you can kind of get out of that is that, like, while Doc at one point in his time was actually a very, very upstanding man of class at the time, because he was actually
he's from the South.
Yeah, his father was a Southern aristocrat, and he was from that very, very well educated, very, very mannered, sort of man. And he was diagnosed with tuberculosis and knew that he was going to die, and everything changed from that.
Yeah.
So that makes him a very, very human person, like this person who was absolutely just he had made the decision, am I going to smolder for as long as I can like a campfire, or am I just going to burn out quick and fast like a match? Like, what am I going to do? And that he chose the match.
So what I imagine is that he basically enjoyed life to the fullest, from what I can tell. Like, he was just going, he was dying, but he was enjoying life.
Yep.
And
at the end of a 36-cent bender, when he's playing poker nonstop, and he's just drinking nonstop, and he just says, I will not be pawed at. I have not yet begun to defile myself.
Fucking love it. Yeah.
Dude, like, this guy, he's like, fuck you. I'm going to do everything I possibly can because I can die right here, right now.
Yeah. He didn't care. And the thing
No,
is,
there's freedom in owning and realizing your immortality.
And Val Kilmer portrayed his role perfectly. Val Kilmer is he's a very gifted actor. I mean, he does a lot of roles, and he's right into those roles. Jim Morrison from The Doors.
Would he be what's considered a method actor?
I would consider him,
because I know that's something that, like, what's your boy, Daniel Day-Lewis, like, he'll literally take on that, like, embodiment.
I think he's, from what I understand, he's like a couple steps shy of that full method.
Okay.
Like he'll regularly
be,
he'll regularly be rehearsing, like even at home he views it as another rehearsal space.
Yes. Okay.
And it's sometimes just watching the new documentary Val.
Found on Amazon Prime.
Yep. And
Fuck them. Don't give them a plug. They have enough money. Jeff Bezos just went into fucking space. Fuck them.
I want him to take me next time, all right? If that takes a plug, fuck it. I will plug that shit.
Hefe, take me, please.
We already know that Stu is totally a whore for anything. Yeah, no, drop. That's fine. Totally fine.
Fuck
totally
yes.
fine.
If it's free, I will gladly suck the corporate dick shill. All right?
Again, we'll get into Suicide Squad with that line later.
But anyways, back to what I was saying is that Val Kilmer.
So he's it caused a lot of problems with him and his wife because he would view the home as a rehearsal space, and constantly trying to perfect, especially if it was somebody that he's basing his the character, somebody's a real life person, such as Jim Morrison, constantly watching.
Well, and Doc Holliday in this instance.
But like the Jim Morrison one that he specifically talked about, he wore the leather pants for a fucking year, just trying to mentally get to that fucking body.
To me, that
exactly. What's those fucking smell?
Oh my gosh,
smell, dude.
He had to peel those things off. If anyone's ever experienced leather pants, not pleasant.
Baby powder.
Oh my gosh.
Baby powder.
But like I said, I wouldn't put him at the level of Daniel Day-Lewis method or Jared Leto method. Just go completely fucking batshit. But he tends to take it very, very fucking seriously.
No.
He was notoriously hard to work with, wasn't he?
No, very much. There was a lot of background history about directors. Like there's a whole documentary on the island of Dr. Monroe about him and how hard he was to work with.
I was going to disagree with you. I was going to go back against that.
He's about to whip it out and start beating.
Well, you don't think the documentary is true?
So based on watching Val,
I haven't watched it all the way through yet.
And seeing, he has tapes of, because he was apparently a prolific recorder. He was recording all the fucking time, and it's, taking notes and shit like that, and it shows he was kind of fucked because he was in the island of Dr. Moreau. He had really wanted to work with Brando. Then, the original director, left.
John Frankenheimer.
And that wasn't the original.
No, that's the original. John Frankenheimer took after.
Yeah, and then Frankenheimer came in. Frankenheimer, flat out said, from Val's point of view, he was shutting down Brando completely. Didn't want, any of Brando's input. So Brando was like, fuck it, I'm not going to inject any my fucking acting choices in it, which disappointed the entire fucking cast because most of them signed on to perform fucking Brando.
Yeah.
And then there was multiple times where Frankenheimer was talking about, because he was apparently going to, thinking about quitting and stuff like that. And all he cared about was getting the shots done, trying to get it back onto fucking track. He didn't care about actually eliciting the best performances, putting the best stuff on there.
So pretty much like studio involvement kind of thing.
Yeah. So, and Val Kilmer, so he got a reputation of being this bad guy to work with when all he wanted to do was actually just be a good artist and, actually be an actor.
Well, so like I said, I got to finish I didn't finish the documentary, so I still don't have an input about that yet. So, but overall, Val Kilmer still, to me, out of all the movies he's been in, Heat, fucking Matt Morgan from Willow, I mean, he's a great actor. And I believe that this would be ranked as one of his number one roles as Doc Holliday. I mean, do you believe that?
Oh, no, absolutely. This is absolutely one of the iconic roles of
No, real genius.
And,
all right, real genius.
Batman Forever.
No, I mean you want to talk about iconic roles. Like, so it's funny about Wyatt Earp and Val and Doc Holliday. Like, there's actually been something like 50 plus movies made about those guys.
Oh yeah, definitely
throughout history.
Yeah,
I believe Kevin Costner even played him in the movie Wyatt Earp from Lawrence Katzin.
Yeah, they absolutely this is absolutely one of the most iconic portrayals of those characters. Or people, I should say. I feel bad calling them characters because they were really living people. Those people,
could they be characters though? Because one of the things the reason all these books and films and TV shows have been made about that time period, about that group of people, because Wyatt Earp was an amazing fucking salesman. Yeah. All right, he became one of the predominant tellers of the Western serials novels that they had back then. And of course, what are you gonna do? You're gonna fucking embellish. You're gonna sell it to the fucking reader. So how much
he became the embodiment of, what's the term that I called him, the law dogs.
Wasn't he also part of Ringling Brothers and stuff like that for a little while as one of their sideshows? Because the character of Wyatt Earp became more than the man.
Well, I think it became the idea of like the cowboy.
Yes.
You know?
So we keep saying their characters. They very well could, because I don't know how much of what we know about them is based on Wyatt Earp's selling of them versus how much is the actual truth.
That's totally fair. One thing I will say about Doc is that while he had pretty much had to give it into his vices and like his willingness to live life to its fullest, because he didn't really truly know like when the end would come. There was a time when Doc was asked by Creek Johnson why he was near death but still fighting for Wyatt, and he said, "Well, Wyatt Earp is my friend."
Yes.
Yep.
And Creek says, "Well, shit, I got lots of friends," and Doc replies, "I don't."
And
that exemplifies who Doc was as a person. Like, is that while he was throwing care and risk to the wind about his drinking and his gambling or anything like that, like he was still true to his friends.
Yes.
Yeah.
He was very loyal to
Failing
Wyatt.
body, amazing soul.
I mean, I think he backed him up more than anybody else. I mean, he was very loyal.
Val
He
says,
was loyal till his death.
Yes.
Val Kilmer said he viewed Tombstone as a love story between two men. Not in a homosexual way, a love beyond.
Brotherly bond.
This was a time when two men could just be friends, and that would be the end of it.
Yeah.
Honestly, being somebody who has to deal with a lot of physical limitations, like a lot of just chronic health shit, and that's all that needs to be put on this podcast. But like, I 100% get that level of putting your loved ones, putting your friends, these few people that you have, like so much more ahead, because your expiration date, you know eventually your ticket's going to be punched. So yeah, like live it up, have the best life that you can, rest when you have to or when you physically pass out, as the case with Doc Holliday. But just like, I get that level of, for as selfish and vice-filled Doc Holliday was in his lifestyle, he is actually an amazingly selfless person. He stood with with Wyatt. He rallied, literally walking on the verge of his own death to make sure his friend isn't taken out by Ringo. All of these things, like, there is something. And then I love that he keeps saying, like, my hypocrisy only goes so far. Yeah. It's so tongue in cheek, and it's just an embodiment of Doc Holliday. Yes. And the way that it was portrayed by Kilmer was just honestly, like, again, one of my favorite characters, I think, on film.
Yeah, and he was the most quotable one out of this entire movie.
I'm your Huckleberry.
Oh, I had a fun time just getting all the quotes.
Say when, yes. I'm seeing too.
You ain't no Daisy.
Yeah.
You ain't no Daisy.
I'm going to kill you, Doc. You're Daisy if you do.
Exactly.
That's so fucking great. I got a gun for both of you.
Exactly. And it's so great. It is so awesome.
Yeah, there's so many.
Forgive me if I don't shake hands.
Exactly.
I love that one, especially nowadays. It's on a t-shirt.
and to be fair, that's a really, really great line, because he says that when he meets Sheriff Behan, as if he knows this man is so dirty and slimy, I wouldn't dare touch him.
He was part of the whole Cowboys. He was like with the Cowboys the whole time.
He's corrupt. I mean, he's literally corrupt.
See, I didn't take it.
He knew him right away.
I didn't take it that way exactly. Like he knew he was corrupt.
You took it as I have tuberculosis.
No, I took it as Doc knows he's on the fringe. Yes, he happens to be friends with one of the greatest lawmen of all time, but he doesn't like the law. He does not have any real respect for the law. He has respect and love for Wyatt and respect for right and wrong, but he doesn't respect the fucking law because it interferes with the game that he does. He could very well have been a prolific fucking cheater at cards. He was
probably
great.
was. He probably was, because he was cleaning house
He
all
just
the
lived
time.
life to the way that he wanted to live.
So by Wyatt purposely calling the sheriff over, that I took it as Wyatt knew that Doc is a shady fucking dude.
Yeah.
And he's going to be in there. If Doc's there, Doc's going to be trying to pull some shady shit. And so Wyatt was kind of being a dick and calling the sheriff over saying, hey, this is Doc Holliday. All right, so knowing that he's setting up to make things more difficult for Doc, and so that's why Doc's like, I don't want to shake your hand because you're a fucking cop.
Well, not only that, he when Wyatt's like, Sheriff Behan, have you met Doc Holliday? And Doc under his breath says, piss on you, Wyatt.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Because that's exactly why I take, because Wyatt was purposely, kicking dirt in Doc's face by doing that, and Doc, he understood it, but he was just like, fuck you. So that's the way I took it. Not that there was no indication to Doc at that time the sheriff was slimy. It was just the fact that he was the sheriff.
Yeah. No, I think you're right. I think it's that, being against like the institute of law and everything else. Doc very much aligned himself with Wyatt and his sense of right and wrong and his way of carrying out the law. He backed because he knows Wyatt, versus the corruption that very much was in Tombstone. I mean, the freaking sheriff literally goes, "Oh, we recommend that the cowboys are here. They're good for the economy. Like, look at how great everybody's dressing because it's doing so well, even though it's a town under the thumb of literally a freaking gang."
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll be like San Francisco in no time.
I know,
and
right?
The guy gets shot, and Doc's like
very metropolitan,
very cosmopolitan.
I know. I loved it. Yeah. So he was so snarky. I loved it. I love the level of snark.
So Johnny Ringo, the deadliest pistolier since Wild Bill, they say.
Michael Biehn,
played by the great Michael Biehn.
I love him.
He was such an integral part of our childhoods. If you were a millennial, fucking Terminator, Aliens, holy shit, bro! Like holy fucking shit.
What's his name? Is John Connor's dad, but what's his name in the show?
Kyle Reese.
Kyle Reese, yes, but also The Abyss. He was a great villain in that. Fucking Aliens as Hicks. I mean, seriously.
I know, but it's such a contrast because he's so awesome as the hero in like Aliens with Sigourney, and then he's such a dick as Ringo.
All right, so fair question. So does he play a hero better or a villain better?
I think he's actually talented in both ways.
I'm going to go villain.
No, I think he's talented in both ways.
We need to go into to some of the more of the back and forth between some of the greater characters in the story, in my opinion, of Ringo and Doc Holliday. So they're back and forth in Latin. That of course nobody else in the room probably understood.
No, I don't even know what they said, but it sounded cool.
The very first line from
in
Doc.
Veritas, that's
the only one I knew. Yep.
Yeah,
that was it.
Because I know wine and truth.
Yeah. All right.
No, I'm sure of it. I hate him.
He's drunk.
In vino veritas.
So in vino veritas means like in wine there is truth, or I may be drunk, but I know what I'm saying is what I mean.
Huh. Okay.
That is what Doc was saying with that, and that's the reason why Ringo responds in such a way that he does. So what he's saying there is is in old Latin he's saying do what you do, or in modern Latin come as you are. If you are the gunslinger that you think you are, go ahead and do it.
Interesting.
Yep.
AKA if you're feeling froggy, jump.
Yeah.
Creda Judea Sotella non ego.
So these two gentlemen are obviously pulling from the old world. They're pulling from the literature that they've read. So this comes from the poet Horace, from his satires. I believe this is 1.5, and what he's saying is credat Judaeus appella non ego. Let appella the Jew believe, yet not I. And with this one's a little bit more ambiguous. I'm not entirely sure what he means. I don't know if he means well, if you're froggy, go ahead and jump, or you may say that you're going to jump. I don't think you are going to. Or if he's saying if you are the fastest hand of the West, I don't think that you are. I'm not entirely sure what he's saying, that that's more or less up to interpretation. So how do you guys kind of take that?
Well, let me ask you this. When watching the scene, do you think it's better that it doesn't have subtitles to tell what it is, or do you think it's better when people just wonder what they're saying, kind of make up something else that they're saying to themselves? I mean, you understand what I'm saying?
No, absolutely. Because
that's what I figured.
The latter, absolutely. Without subtitles, you are completely and totally left up to interpretation on what it is they're saying. Because, in my opinion, it's fairly clear what they're saying. They're
measuring each other.
They're
out.
taunting each other, basically.
There's this back and forth, and there's definitely a building.
Yeah.
And that definitely ends that definitely kind of comes to a head at the end of what Doc says. But as I was asking, so when he says let appella the Jew believe, yet not I, or credat Judaeus appella non ego. What do you guys take from that? What do you think he's saying to Ringo?
Without knowing the whole poem that you're referring to, just by taking that snippet, I'm assuming it's going to be something like a reference of he'll buy your horse shit, but not me.
Yeah, no,
you're fooling them, but you're not fooling me.
No,
I think he's calling him on bravado. 100%. I think Doc is like, you claim to be this great thing. So, you're all, to me, to boil it down, you're all bark and no bite.
No, that's fair. Okay, cool. All right. Ringo's next quote.
Juventus stultorum magister.
So youth or experience is the teacher of fools. I believe what Ringo is saying here is that I have more experience than you do, and you're being a fool for not believing me.
Yeah.
So in a way, he's being a narcissist, basically saying he's the better one. He's the better person than the Doc, basically.
Yeah,
He probably has more notches on his gun than fucking Doc does.
In his assumption, and I also, to be honest, again, I think that Ringo is a healthy, able-bodied, whereas Doc, he keeps calling me, you skinny lunger. Like, Doc looks sick.
Yeah, but the thing is, people already know that Doc Holliday is a legendary
No,
gunslinger.
but what I'm saying is I think Ringo is kind of being like, he's saying youth and this, life, more notches on my belt kind of thing. But I also think he's like, you're sick, I'm young, healthy, I obviously am going to be stronger, faster than you.
Yeah.
More able-bodied.
Oh, I see what
on
you're
a
saying.
physical level. I mean, that's how I take it anyways.
So what he's saying there is a very, very simple quote that's said at a lot of Latin Catholic funerals, which is rest in peace. Doc is saying here is it's rest in peace, or it's going to be your funeral if you keep pushing this matter.
Do you think that's a good closing line from Doc Holliday? I mean,
no, absolutely.
Well, because then...
What are you going to say to that?
Well, because then Ringo basically is like, okay, words are dead, so now I'm going to show off my fancy gunning. And then I just love, again, the level of snark and sarcasm with Doc, where he just starts flipping his cup.
Yeah, well, see, the thing is, Doc Holliday, he's not afraid of him at all.
But
He's
Doc,
not.
I felt Doc.
What does he have to lose?
But
Exactly.
I do feel Doc felt he was painted in the corner. He was looking around. He was seeing everybody else's fucking reaction, and he knew he had to do fucking something.
Well, yeah.
But he didn't know what exactly. So he's
like, I'm going to diffuse this with humor.
I'm going to make you look like a dummy.
That's right.
I thought that was better.
I thought it was more of an insult, actually.
I felt it in Val's face. He felt the walls closing in right there. His entire legacy being questioned
by this young
not
buck,
knowing exactly how to respond, and especially once he started speaking Latin back to him, he realized this is also a knowledgeable person. Somebody who's got fucking skills, because say whatever fucking will. What the way he was handling that fucking firearm with the confidence that he had, and it was taking a lot of dexterity, a lot of quickness on reaction speed on Ringo's behalf. Doc would recognize that and recognize, I see myself in him. Fuck.
Yeah. No, and I think it's fair.
It's after Marshall White says when all right, easy boys, we don't need any trouble here, no, not in any language, and Doc says well, it seems Ringo here is an educated man, and and there's this dead serious in his face, and credit to Val Kilmer, and he goes, no, I really hate him.
Yeah.
And there's this dead fucking seriousness in him.
Yeah. I think it was...
Doc hates himself.
Well, see, that's the thing. That's why I think Doc Holliday wanted to take over on the whole, thing with Johnny Ringo, because Johnny Ringo was having a whole thing with Wyatt Earp, and Doc Holliday wanted to step, because this was a fight he wasn't going to lose, and he was fighting, it was a constant fight.
Well, I mean, you're talking about literally two dudes who, I guess their reputations are literally been built and passed along by word of mouth throughout all of this newfound territory and everything else. I mean, you have Ringo, where he's talking about literally being the fastest draw since Wild Bill Hickok, which was a huge thing. That was a huge thing. And then you have the reputation of Doc Holliday that also. So you literally have these two, basically the fastest guns in the West, pairing off in this bar. But unlike Stu, I'm sorry, we're gonna disagree. But I feel like when he's like, it's your own funeral, I think yes, he did see himself, a younger version of himself. I do agree with that. I think he identified. I think it pissed him off that not only is he a younger version, he is physically healthier, he is an educated man, he very well could be all the bull that he's heard. But I think that instead, and being backed in the corner, although a little, I think that Doc Holliday, like doing the thing with the cup, was honestly to make a joke.
It was
at his expense.
It was a way to slap him in the face without slapping him in the face. Yeah,
exactly. Okay.
It was.
See, we can agree. Yeah. It happens.
I think they were
we have it
very
on air.
equal against each other. That's the thing. They were equal opponents.
No, they weren't.
No, I think
not
so.
even remotely.
I
Doc
think
had
so.
it in the bag.
No,
Doc wasn't even sure he had it in the
still
bag.
believe that they were sort of equal. I just think,
but he has nothing to lose.
Yeah,
I think
Doc wasn't sure he had it in the bag.
That's the difference between a kamikaze or a kamikaze and somebody.
He knew Ringo would have fucking destroyed Wyatt. He had no doubt in his fucking mind.
He would have rather taken the bullet for Wyatt than to allow Wyatt to die.
Well, that's because he was a true friend. I mean, that's the whole point.
And plus, he's dying already.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry, and I'm gonna touch on it again. When Doc shows up and he actually is there, he's like, "All right, man, you want to throw down? Let's throw down." And Ringo immediately was like, "My beef isn't with you," and he's like, "Yeah, it is. You said all of this crap in the saloon. Put up or shut up." And Ringo's like, "I wasn't serious," and Doc's like, "I was."
Yeah.
And I think that was him calling on the bravado.
You know what? I didn't think about that.
That's why I think he was more of a coward. Ringo was definitely more of a coward.
But he was a coward at that point, possibly, but he still got over his cowardice. So
like
bravery is acting in spite of your cowardice and in spite of fear.
I don't think it was brave. I think it was either I put up or shut up or I'm going to get shot either way.
Like I said, I do not believe that Doc would have shot him if
he wouldn't have had to.
Exactly. If he had just walked away and said, my beef's with Wyatt, and Wyatt's too much of a chicken shit to come and face me himself, he's sending his man. All right.
I'm sorry. No. I think he would have. I know. I'm sorry.
No, if he specifically called out Wyatt, plain and simple, he called out Wyatt. Wyatt did not show up as far as he knew at the time. He didn't know that Wyatt was,
on his way.
On his way.
No, I get that.
So that to me, he could have turned his back to Doc, gone back to his people, and saying, "Look what a chicken shit coward you guys are following." He's sending his man instead of coming to face me himself.
That's him being a bully because he knows he's faster than Wyatt. That's an easy win. That's an easy win.
But it's still the leader of the two groups. All right, I'm sorry whether you're better or not, you're stronger or not. It's the leader of the two groups. One calling out the other.
See, I think that's okay.
I hate when mom and dad fight. So Lenny, what do you think?
Well,
hold on.
What?
Lenny, where the fuck have you been? Who let you out of the basement?
I was here the whole time. What are you talking about?
What? No.
Yes, I have.
No.
Yes, I have.
No.
Was I not here the
whole
time?
Why are you quiet the whole time?
See, I was just quietly in the corner. You guys don't pay attention. No one pays attention to me. Okay. Wait, what were we talking about?
Stop or you go back to your corner.
I will send you back to that hole.
We're professionals, sir.
So we're talking about Doc and Ringo.
Yeah, so, okay, my opinion is this. Personally, I think Ringo's a giant puss. And the reason why I say that is because...
Yes!
I know, hold on. I have a eloquent, somewhat... eloquent, I don't do eloquent. But a decent argument. This is what it is. He knows that Wyatt is inferior to him. And he automatically goes after him. In my opinion, and that's very similar to like a bully's mentality. Go after the weakest person. In my opinion, if you're going after the weakest person, you're a giant pussy, because if you are any kind of real man, if you're any kind of real champion, if you're ever looking for a challenger, you're trying to be the best of the best, you go after the best.
Yeah.
And he knows damn well that Doc is the best. He knows it. And he's running from him. He's avoiding him. He's trying to stay away from him. And he's going after Wyatt. He knows Wyatt is an easy target. You go after an easy target, you lose respect as far as I'm concerned of being a real man. And I love the fact that he gets to a push to a point where it's, I have no choice but to stand up for myself. Am I going to die a coward, or am I going to die in his head thinking that he's being brave? In my opinion, when your back's to the wall and then you start defending yourself and you do a piss poor job of it anyways, I have no respect for Ringo personally. That's just me.
Except for Ringo was calling out Wyatt as the leader of the group. That's what he was calling. He was calling out the man. That's what he was calling.
But it was painfully obvious, in my opinion, that he knew damn well that his skills were much higher than Wyatt's, and he was specifically avoiding Doc, knowing that Doc was an easy match for him, if not better than him. And in my opinion, if you're going after the easier target, I don't care if the guy's a leader or not. He's still going after the easiest target.
Military wise, you take out the head of the snake.
But here's the
I don't
thing.
care if the fucking middle segment is the strongest of the people. You take out the head of the snake, and the rest will fall.
Okay,
that's the right choice.
Let me ask you this then.
Okay, but
hold on, switching rules for a second. The movie Troy. What do you think would have been a bigger blow to that army? Brad Pitt's character getting killed off in front of God and everyone being bested, or that piece of shit king who was the leader who wasn't worth a shit?
It
just saying.
Probably would have been more significant for the king to die because you lose the leader of your country. There's going to be an upheaval. You are going to automatically lose backing. You're going to lose foundation while they try to reorganize.
I could
you
see
go
that.
after the leader.
I could see
we
that,
went
but
after.
You have a secondary that will take his spot. Brad Pitt's character was by far the best soldier on the field.
Yes,
hands down. If you take out the best of the best in front of fucking God and everyone, that other opposing team who had the best of the best, like I'll give you a perfect example. At the very beginning of that movie, when he takes out that big tall motherfucker, that whole army,
Mad Max.
That whole army was done. Like even the leader, everyone was like, "Well, shit, he was our best guy. Now what do we do?" Like they literally folded immediately because their best guy, who they thought was absolutely indestructible, was taken out in a single blow. It is something to be said about the morale of how quickly it can be destroyed of an entire group if the best one's taken. Not necessarily the leader, but the best fighter you have. You
so
take
technically
away
the morale of the Cowboys, basically.
Right. So Doc was definitely their best gunslinger. You take that away. I mean, yes, Wyatt's the leader, but you take that away, they're going to fold because they're like, well, fuck.
No, they won't.
You know what? I don't.
Wyatt would continue on with even more of a vengeance.
He would fight to the very end.
And the rest of his regulators, or whatever you want to call them, would also have been fighting tooth and nail.
They would have kept going, but
Bin Laden. Do you think Bin Laden was the strongest and the smartest and the best of the entire Taliban? No, he wasn't. But he was our primary target. We wanted to fucking punch him in the goddamn dick and take him out on a public way in order to demoralize as many of the Afghanis as we could.
And we did. But they're not completely gone.
No, they weren't. No, but it did strike a major fucking blow to them by taking out. He was not in any way, shape, or form the best at any one thing. But he was their leader.
I will say that either one being taken out would be a big blow, but I still think that him choosing the easier of the two makes him less of a man, in my opinion.
And you would take out the leader, and then if the group is still standing up, then you take out the next. Then you take out the next. You keep doing it until there's no more heads on the snake.
But he keeps avoiding the best.
Well, I think you both are right. I think that Ringo wanted to take out Wyatt because he was in fact the leader of the group. However, he did fear Doc.
He was intimidated by him.
Yeah, he was.
He was absolutely afraid of him. And even Doc and Wyatt realized it because when Doc was sick and he was put into Henry Hooker's in his cabin, like in bed, like to rest up and everything.
Yeah.
Wyatt asked him I can't beat him, can I? And Doc tells him no.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's when Doc gets out of bed and he goes to meet Ringo. To have their final showdown,
which is awesome because he doesn't only just best Ringo, he bests him when he's like he's not even close to 100%. The guy's like supposed to be bedridden for God's sakes, and he's still bested it.
Yeah,
I know he's literally on his deathbed.
Yeah,
but I would say that Doc Holliday and Wyatt Earp are almost equal in their skills when it comes to the gun. No, Doc was a better gunfighter, yes, but Wyatt was also very fearless.
He was fearless.
He
yes,
was good at inspiring others, and he was a very good tactician.
Yeah,
that was one other thing too.
Yes. But if you put Doc versus Wyatt, if for something, not that they ever would have because of the love and the respect they have for each other, but Doc would have fucking destroyed Wyatt 10 out of 10 times.
Yeah.
Plain and simple.
So, I'm sorry, I wasn't expecting us to 10.
Wait, there's supposed to be more.
We were like going and going and going, and like suddenly like everybody just like looks at me like, okay, next subject. I'm like, oh damn, okay, cool. All right.
And then.
So, do you guys really think that that Ringo is just truly evil to the core?
No,
I think he's a bully. I think that's really what it boiled down to. He had a bully mentality. I don't, because from what I saw in his demeanor, he got off on like intimidating people and scaring people, and like every single time he'd go after Wyatt, he could see that Wyatt was intimidated by him, and he enjoyed that. And that's, in my opinion, that's a bully's mentality.
Right.
They enjoy when they scare other people or when they make them uncomfortable and
Intimidate.
intimidate, or they. So I nah.
So even when like he shoots the priest.
Oh wow, I forgot about that at the wedding in the beginning.
No, I think he's evil. No, I totally think that Ringo is like Doc hit it on the nail on the head when he goes. He's just angry for being born. I honestly don't know if he even like he's like a sociopath. Like the only thing he feels is just the pain he's inflicting. But unfortunately in that you're also a narcissist. When you're a narcissist, you're a coward. So no, you're always going to, worry about your own neck. Ergo, why he doesn't actually challenge Doc. He challenges Wyatt, this whole thing. But yeah, no, like I honestly think like he's just the embodiment because in order to like literally kill a priest, any holy man in like cold blood, like, I mean, I'm sorry, that to me is just an embodiment of evil. Like, yeah. I'm sorry.
So I actually disagree with that because for an evil person, you said like he was a sociopath. He doesn't really care about anything, and he just enjoys on getting off, like or he gets off on inflicting pain on others. He showed a lot of emotion when after the OK Corral, after the McClary brothers were killed, and after Blake Clant was killed, and and he was just drunken and distraught and everything, and he delivers this line.
What do you want, Ringo?
I want your blood. I want your soul.
You can paint the Cowboys and Ringo especially like as being purely evil, but they truly mourn the loss of one another.
And the way I took Ringo, and especially the way the actor portrayed him, I give all the credit in the world to the way he gets you to feel what Ringo's feeling. To piggyback on what you said, Sammy, about Doc nailing it right on the head, him hating stuff. So I'm assuming he had a fucked up childhood. Realized the only thing he's good at is what he's doing.
Killing.
Yeah,
Killing
that's it.
and
He is the fucking greatest there.
Well, he also likes to brag about it too.
The referencing the Faustian deal, the Faustian deal when referencing when the play was going on that he's already made his deal with the devil. He hates life. He could hate God for what he's had to gone through possibly and suffered through, and killing the priest could be his way of attacking God since there is no God for him to physically go attack. Yeah, so he could be attacking a representative that he could
okay. You remember that part of the wedding?
To rip out against God and his maker and burn down everything around him. I mean, that's the embodiment of a demon.
It is, but at the same time, I want to say that especially if you have like extreme case, but you have a kid who was victimized, and it just happened to be someone who was a religious person, right? They grow up, and then lashing out at a priest or lashing out at someone of the clergy might not necessarily. From the outside looking in, it's an evil act, but to them, it's like them fighting, a demon they had in the past, or divvying out the issues that they have going on inside of them. So they might have a justification in their head for why. When you are killing people just to kill them, and that's the only reason, that's pure evil. But when you have a justification, you have a hurt inside because of something's going on and they're doing it, then it can be argued that no, it's still an evil act. But is the person actually purely evil, or are they acting out because of something else?
And that's the way I took it, is he's acting out through whatever fucked up shit that happened to him. He's been adopted and adopts the Cowboys as his family, as the people that actually care about him and he cares about. He probably did not have anything good before that point. So like he's willing to do whatever it takes to take care of that family and get revenge on that family and make that family so that nobody wants to fuck with that family. And he's willing to be the muscle and willing to be the bad guy in order to make sure that that family stays on top, and in order to protect them in the long run. You kill a few people, you got the less chance of more people rising up and messing with these families if they think there's gonna be repercussions as a whole. And that's why he took it so damn hard after the OK Corral, because they fucked with his family, and he had no other way to explain this feeling, this pain, this hurt, except for lashing out more. And he feels like he failed his family by not protecting them, by not being there for them. He's still a bad guy. Yes, right. I will definitely say he's still a bad guy. But as 100% evil, I don't buy that. I find that as somebody who was in a fucked up position and did the best they could in the fucked up position they were in.
Well, it's just like with gangs, like the Blood and the Crips or whatever. Yeah. It's the same concept. Young, he's probably young, disgruntled,
fatherless,
broken kid, and then he finds what he's truly looking for, which is acceptance and family and everything else within this group. And then he identifies with that and goes, okay, cool, I'm going to hold on to this, and this is my moral center, and I'm going to do whatever I can to protect it. And not saying that his actions are okay, just saying that's probably where he's coming from. As to
like I said, I'm not excusing him in any way, shape, or form, but I do not believe he was pure evil. I do not. I believe that's somebody who chose one route to go down in life, and that's the only way that he saw being able to survive, and it may be morally wrong according to us on the outside, but
he deserved what he got though in the end.
Yeah.
Well, like it opens up the broader question about the Cowboys in general. Like, were they truly bad guys? Were they truly criminals? Like in the lawless West?
Yeah.
Could you see yourself like easily going down one path or the other? Like, like becoming a marshal, or a deputy or something like that, or becoming a cowboy. The both lanes would be open and would be just as reasonable as one or the other.
They were they were lawless. That's the thing. They did things against the law. I mean, just like Virgil's character when he says that they are breaking the law.
But what is the law in the West? The Wild West, by definition, was a lawless place. So being a criminal wasn't exactly.
Just saying.
Yeah, I guess it was. So it's of that time then. It's whatever's happened during that time. Like there was no laws, there was no rules like there was now. Now there is.
Would you call Crusaders evil?
No.
Why not? They went into towns, they burned them, they raped and pillaged, but all because they did it in the name of God, right? And that's what they were doing. But they were still doing horrible, heinous acts on people that they view as lower.
Well, see,
than
that's
them.
why I said it's
so
of that time.
Yeah,
things have changed over. It's of that time. That's I don't know. That's how I'm trying to say it.
Sammy, you said something earlier.
No, I mean, to me, no, I'm sorry. I get it, it's the Old West and, women were basically the same as shoes. But, no, I'm sorry. Just the brutalization of women and stuff like that. I'm sorry. That, to me, it's
Cry me a river, the poor women.
No, I'm sorry. Well, really? Really? I know that, come on, really? No, seriously, honestly, no, it's that level of disrespect. Not only they just kill this freaking, Mexican woman's, husband in the beginning and blow him away, and then they go and they rape the bride. Are you kidding me? No, they're assholes. No, and you guys want to sit there, they need a coloring book, they had a heart attack. No, sorry. They're dicks.
And by what they did in that small moment of time was getting retribution against a handful of people that killed two of their brethren.
Oh no! How many did they kill? How many did they rape?
Exactly.
How many did they brutalize?
But by doing that, it kept the rest of the
cowboys.
town in line.
Poor
so in order to protect the rest of their family. I'm not saying it's right.
What?
It's logical.
Okay. By that logic, then vigilante justice is 100% justified. I
didn't say it's not.
Well, all right. Well, there you go. No, seriously,
Sorry.
I am tired of this bullshit sob story. Oh, you don't know Ringo's past. Maybe he got kicked in the face by the other kids. You need to get picked for dodgeball. Oh, it's so sad. Oh, it's so sad. No, he was a cruel son of a bitch.
Let me.
But what made him into that?
What does the boxing bell mean?
Honestly, could have just been how he was born. And I'm sorry, Freud.
So let me just throw this out there. All we're simply pointing out is that he has justifications in his own head as to why he's doing the things he's doing. Does he still deserve what he gets in the end? Is it still fucked up what he does? Yes.
Yeah, I agree he deserved to die, but only because you live by the sword, you die by the sword.
You're gonna be
all right.
You play stupid games,
you reap what you sow. Exactly. So he did definitely deserve to die.
Yeah.
But also, I do not think he was evil.
Who agrees he needed to die? Aye.
So
meeting's adjourned.
So as I said, the Wild West was a truly lawless place.
Oh yeah.
And so what do you need in a lawless place? You need law
and order, baby.
Law and order. So we're going to talk about the Earp brothers. We're going to talk about Virgil. We're going to talk about Morgan.
Dude, yeah.
Hold on, nothing. I walk around this town and look these people in the eye. It's just like someone slapping me in the face. These people are afraid to walk down the street, and I'm trying to make money off that like some goddamn vulture. If we're gonna have a future in this town, it's gotta have some law and order.
Please, Verge, don't do this.
That's awesome, dude. Bill Paxton's like, oh, come on.
No, that was Wyatt.
Kurt Russell.
Oh yeah, okay. They sound similar. They sound very similar.
As far as the back, they're both men.
In the background, yes, he does.
Both have mustaches and they're dudes.
Are you fucking deaf?
Maybe a little bit, yeah.
What?
Possible.
Oh my god, that did not sound like Bill Paxton.
I thought it sounded like
No,
Bill
dude, it
Paxton.
was Kurt Russell.
All right.
Sorry.
So Virgil.
My bad. Oh my god.
Virgil Earp, played by
go ahead
by the
and
great
shame.
Sam Elliott.
Yes.
He plays the obligate lawman, even more so than Wyatt. We kind of talked before about how Wyatt just couldn't help himself. He had tried to shuck off his responsibility.
Hold on, I gotta say something.
What's up?
Steak. It's what's for dinner.
Yeah.
Also, how the
seriously-
fuck does Sam Elliott look the same now as he did then?
I don't know, but Eddie,
All right.
I just want to be like, here, pull up a sarsaparilla. Like, oh my gosh, I love him so much.
You have to
the
swear
cowboy.
so much.
He is
Big Lebowski.
by far like.
Sorry, I had to put that. I had to put that in there.
So with Sam Elliott, almost every one of his characters, and with Sam Elliott himself, to me, he's like a really good example of like a man's man. Like he's
Yes.
just,
Oh yeah.
it's true. And like with this character, and I know Tyler, you're going to get into it more in detail, but he does not falter. He's like, no, this is what it is, and that's it. And if it means I have to die in order to keep things the way they are, or to fight for whatever the morals are, I'm going to. Like it's great.
They're carrying guns, Wyatt.
Say, Verge, that's a misdemeanor. You go down there to arrest him. Something goes wrong. Maybe this time somebody really gets his head broke. You'll have cowboys coming around looking for trouble from here to Christmas. You want to risk all that over a misdemeanor?
You're damn right I'll risk it. They're breaking the law.
The great Bill Paxton. I love it. The great Bill Paxton.
Shut up! Don't make fun
good.
of my hearing disability.
This entire
Hearing
time,
disability.
this entire time you're saying that you missed Lenny.
I did. I did.
Oh yeah, this is great.
Yeah, so Virgil was the first one to accept a badge, to finally go back to the old job of being a lawman. You just love to see it. You just love to see it happen.
Mm-hmm. It's tragedy though that him losing his arm, basically losing all the feeling in his. Was it losing the feeling or losing using his arm?
He lost his arm.
They did. Yeah, when he got shot.
So when he gets on the train and he leaves, he still has his arm.
Yeah, I thought it was just loss of use.
Loss of use. Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
It sucks about that, but
he still became another marshal somewhere else.
Yeah, no,
Yeah, no, that's right. Yeah. I think at the epilogue they said
Yes.
that he lost use of his arm. He still had it, but he lost use of it.
Oh, so they didn't remove it. I thought they removed it.
No, they didn't Stonewall Jackson him. So,
Oh.
All right. So Morgan Earp, played by the late great Bill Paxton.
Yes. Rest in peace.
Game over, man.
He's the charming younger brother, the optimist. The thing that's truly tragic about Morgan is that he's always smiling for the first half of the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's just like, I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, and he's with his brothers, they got a thing going, he has this bright-eyed, bushy-tailed kind of view on the world, there's that one scene where he's like, I've been reading this book about spiritualism, and Virgil's like, oh, here we go. And
But the thing is, I think he
drinking the Kool-Aid.
I think
God, Wyatt,
I think he looks up to Virgil, especially when Virgil does, takes to take the law in his
looks up to
hands.
both of them.
He look. Well, no. When Wyatt Earp comes in and it says he doesn't want anything to do in this town, that we didn't want to be a part of it, but his character stay with them with Virgil because he opened his jacket and saw the badge and everything else. So I just felt like he looked more up to Virgil.
No, I think he looked up to both of them, but he still had his moral compass made him stand with Virgil.
Yes,
his
I
right
know
and
what you're
wrong.
saying. Yeah, no, that's right.
Well, actually, a line tells you exactly where his thought process was. Right after, he opens up his coat and you see the badge.
Yeah.
And Wyatt goes, "Oh my God, not you too!" And he's like, "Sorry, Wyatt, I just did what I thought you would do, back your brother."
Exactly.
You know what? You're right. I didn't even think about that.
He did what he thought Wyatt would do.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think as a little brother, he looked above both to Virgil and to Wyatt.
Right.
Right. So after the OK Corral, after Morgan has killed a man, he's not smiling anymore, and he and Wyatt have a brief conversation and have a few words about the reality of taking a life. All this just makes Morgan's eventual death that much more tragic. And when he dies, he says, "You know what I said about seeing a light when you die? It ain't true." And I can't see a damn thing. And his eyes just go dead, and he lets out that last breath. Bro, that fucking gets me.
Yeah, no, it does.
That fucking scene, dude.
And then you see Wyatt Earp go out into the rain and just you just see what happens to him. You see that complete change of him and how he wants to take revenge on the Cowboys and everything else, and he becomes a completely different person. And
he's committed now. Okay, that was the last straw.
Well, that happened at the train station when they were seeing Virgil them off.
Yeah.
And Wyatt Earp comes out and says, all right, Clanton, you called down the thunder. Well, now you've got it.
So actually, that's a really, really great callback, speaking about the shooting of the priest. So after Ringo shoots the priest, Curly Bill's like, well, what was he saying anyways? And he's like, he was quoting the Bible, Revelations, and behold, a pale horse, and upon him sat death, and hell followed with him. Well, on that train platform, Wyatt screaming like, you called down the thunder. Well, you got it. Tell him I'm coming, and hell's coming with me.
Yeah.
Great fucking callback.
Oh, yeah. It's a great line.
There's a lot of great lines in this movie. That's one of the reasons why I love this movie so much.
Sorry.
Spicy boner.
Moving on. Fuck yourself. Are you still here? All right. So Josephine Marcus. Fuck me, dude. I'm not ready to talk about this. All right. So played by Dana Delaney, the crazy actress who catches Wyatt's eye. She's kind of like an anachronism in this movie, in my opinion. Like, when she's telling Wyatt like what she wants out of life, room service and to travel the world, to fuck a lot of dudes and to generally live life by the direction of the wind and never look back. She sounds a lot more like a modern woman or a woman of today rather than a woman from 1881.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I don't know. Like, personally, I feel like whenever I'd see scenes with her in them, I'm sure that obviously I might be the only person here that's saying this, but I was like, what are we doing here? Like, why does this even need to be in the movie? I don't know. Me personally, I just thought it was...
So that candy makes sense when they're dancing in the snow.
Oh, God.
So like great.
It shows a different side, a little bit of a different side of Wyatt. And I get that, but it's kind of like... Is this really necessary?
Ridiculous.
I don't know. Like, every time that she would talk, and I'm Tyler, I'm sure you agree, my eyes would roll. I'm like, shut the fuck up. Like, this is stupid. Like, just...
Well, there's a whole lot of double talk too, because so she says all that, and then she says with all the traveling and the men and everything like that, and then she's like, but I need somebody to do it with. Like, what the fuck is she saying here? Like, I want to travel the world and fuck all these dudes, but I need somebody to do it with.
Right? She's like, I don't know what I want. What kind of get out of here?
Well, it's like that, or like, what kind of kinky shit are you trying to pull this dude into? Like, I'm just.
Yeah.
She is an actress.
And she is actually...
Exactly. I've dated an actress before, and everything they say about them being crazy as fuck, true.
But I got to ask this. In historical, for history, this did really happen, but that he did marry this woman, because I know that his wife before, with the whole drugs and everything, overdosed.
Yeah.
So they did get together. So that is true.
Because that's your caliber of women. It's either the hussy that gives you the world, or it's flipping the drug addict, idol brand wife. All right, so I do find it really, really frustrating that this film, you literally have basically this chick that's like, I don't care about homewrecking hussy, it's fine because I want to be my best self. And then you got freaking the drugged out heroin addict wife who's like, love me, why are you not? I'm gonna, okay, laudanum, great. No, I really, really, again, I get so frustrated when they put in these pithy chick side characters. Let it just be a dude's movie. Don't need to put romance in it. We don't need to see all this crap. It's a waste of time. And honestly, there are no strong female characters. The strongest one, I think, would honestly be Morgan's, and Virgil's wives. They're the only ones that I'm like, okay, cool. That is what a woman of the woods should be. They're out there. They're keeping themselves together. They're, doing what they had to do to back their men and, to start their families and do that. That is what strong women did at this time. Not this gallivanting whore, which, come on, really?
But it's factual.
No.
That's the thing. Wyatt Earp was a flawed man.
Great.
No matter what you want to feel about him, he was a flawed man. And the movie was showing that he's a flawed man.
Okay.
Right? And yes, he had a junky wife. And yes, he ended up shacking up with some actress whore.
Yeah.
All right. Neither one are good.
No.
But that's what happened.
But
that's
I'm
the
talking
truth.
about why in the world was it even necessary to have these characters? I'm sorry.
Because that was in showing the mindset of the man, what he's going through. That's the mindset that he's going through.
So hard. Oh my gosh, men and their feelings. Oh, there's so many feelings on this podcast.
To be fair,
oh my goodness.
So to be fair, that, Wyatt was this very, very, he was the obligate lawman. He did have this very, very strong sense of of morality when it came to law, right and wrong, everything. But where does it all go wrong? Where does it all change when he's dealing with this crazy actress, whatever, and he just abandons his wife and cheats on her with this lady? That's kind of the question. Why does this otherwise honorable man, but then he goes off and just cheats on his wife? Even after all the shit she says about the men and the traveling and everything like that, he's obviously struck by her, and he says oh, you're a lady. I know it. I can tell. Whatever. You're a lady. I'm just bro. What? We're not looking at the same shit at all.
No. Yeah. And like I said, with that whole, To be honest with you, every single time, like they would show a scene where either he's there with his wife, who's like, what was it? Was it opioids that she was addicted to?
Yeah, so
laudanum.
So laudanum's actually an alcoholic drink that has opiates. It's basically like a precursor to.
Isn't it like a
yeah,
morphine?
and she
basically,
kept calling it. They kept calling it like elixir or something. Like it was like a
no, it's like a morphine, I believe.
Yeah, and
it's
so
opium. Yes, it's morphine, opium, heroin, all of that. It's from poppy plants. It's laudanum.
So yeah, so I mean, whenever she was on there, like just like, or like the other chick was there, I would check out because I'm like, this is, and it's not me saying like, you know, I don't like movies with women in them. Blah. I'm not like that. I
Chicks
just
are lame.
Love Actually was a good movie.
You big girl. Oh my god.
It was a good movie.
Oh
Anyway,
my gosh.
Shut up.
What movie?
Love Actually.
Love Actually was a good movie.
It's a terrible movie.
I hate you guys.
Oh
So
my
anyways,
gosh. I thought I had
all
something
I'm
to
saying is that I'm not one of those typical guys who's like anti-chick flick. I'm just saying this was a Western movie. It was a good movie. There's no need for those scenes at all.
I love The Notebook.
I would
Ugh, I hate that movie. She's a whore too.
What do you want?
The Notebook? Oh, she's totally a whore.
Pick a restaurant.
Oh my gosh.
No, but so
English Patient.
I don't mind.
Whores. Again, another one. Whores everywhere.
Sammy has an issue with whores. We've determined whores coming into town, switching their behinds for the men folk.
Burn them. Burn them all.
Say little girls are the devil.
That rock and roll music.
Okay, anyway.
Got the fucking church lady up in here.
Every chick flick, she's like, whores, they're all in the movie.
Why is it that literally every chick flick, it's always they're fucking around? It's never a committed relationship. It's always the sleaze.
Makes the movie more entertaining.
Whores.
It's like that skit with Adam Sandler. They're all going to laugh at you.
All right. Here, I'm about to make this even better. All right, so when researching her, I actually found a personal claim by her that she came to Tombstone with an acting troupe, just like in the movie. There is no record of her ever being a part of a troupe. There are records of her, however, belonging to a brothel as a prostitute.
Oh, see, there you go. Whore.
Okay.
Professional whore.
Legitimately. Boom.
So she was a real
Signed,
whore.
sealed, and approval. Hoard.
Yeah.
Wow.
Which isn't unbelievable that she would catch Wyatt's eye since his previous wife, Maddie, was also a prostitute when they met.
Whores.
Yep.
So he's got a type.
That's
what you're
just
saying.
gross.
And you know what his type is?
Goes for sluts.
Whore.
Yes.
He goes for sluts.
So, yeah, that just... It's
No.
gross.
Sluts don't get paid.
Yeah, she's got a point.
All right. So apparently,
Experience comes with benefits. Saying.
so apparently, a lot of her claims
Comes with AIDS. Sorry.
Right?
That could be a benefit.
It burns when I pee.
1881, not 1981.
Oh, it definitely burns when they pee.
Nobody had fucked the monkey yet.
All right. So apparently, a lot of her claims were often vague and questionable, and her family was known for covering up her activities. So it's kind of like questionable, like what she was actually up to, because nobody really knows. The records are kind of they're vague. You know, we don't know.
Well, that's why I was curious if it was actually real history or not about the whole ordeal between them. But that's interesting.
I would assume there isn't a lot of history back then that was actually
of their
good
life.
record keeping.
No,
Well,
no.
and
I mean,
honestly, like that whole, like I said, that whole scene with her and even being involved in the story, I didn't think was very important.
It was an integral.
Sammy pointing out that showing like the brothers having like the wives that were like being strong, supportive, like supporting their husbands, and you know, because being a wife of someone that has a job that dangerous is not for the faint of heart. That takes a very strong woman to do that.
Yeah.
Damn sure.
That I think was absolutely cool to be in the movie. Absolutely. But like the
Girl power.
The rest of it, I'm just like, it's stupid. It was unnecessary.
Yeah.
Okay? That's all I'm saying.
All right, so moving on to Sheriff Behan. So sort of a typical sheriff in that like they're no more than politicians, being the elected officials that they are. Behan seems to be like more concerned with the
he was bought out.
Absolutely, absolutely.
He's corrupt.
It's,
yeah,
and it's very, very obvious like that he was bought up by the Cowboys and basically to the highest bidder.
Mm-hmm.
He seems much more concerned with the image of
the Cowboys even bring them good business. They bring
what I
good
really
business
liked
to
is
the town. They prosper it.
What was the character? I'm trying to remember the character with the glasses, the one that was kind of friends with the Cowboys.
Billy John Patton.
Yeah, his character I liked because how he kind of had a change of heart and finding out that that he was wrong because he.
Well, I think it was cool how several of the Cowboys ended up getting redeemed.
Oh, like Michael Rooker.
Rooker.
Yeah.
And then I loved it. I love the fact that it really, really sucked. That's a character I wish that they had gone into more detail with developing was was it McManus? McMasters.
Yeah.
Because like you see him, like he has to change. Even in the beginning when he was winning, again, watching the women getting raped didn't sit well with him. He's like, it's not right that they're, abusing their women folk and all of this stuff. Like it wasn't sitting well. Like you could see he was growing a spine and a conscience and eventually he, pairs up with Wyatt and it's awesome, but I really wish that they had developed him more because I love that coming around realizing not the right way to do kind of getting his crap together thing, and then literally all we see is him getting his body dragged in by a horse because they somehow jumped him and just berated him by dragging behind a horse.
Yeah,
like that I thought sucked.
All right. So speaking of Billy Joe Patton, the man who was initially with the Cowboys and gets deputized by Sheriff Bean. There's one scene. This is after the OK Corral. This is actually, I believe this actually happens right before the I Want Your Blood, I Want Your Souls, where he basically tells Wyatt and basically the Earps to fuck off. That they killed his friends and everything like that, and he walks off, and Wyatt just says all they did was laugh at him. And he for some reason he's still loyal to them, and Wyatt just can't really seem to wrap his head around it.
Yeah.
All right, so moving on. Curly Bill, played by Powers Booth. Ron, I know you wanted to say a few things about him.
I love Powers Booth in this role.
He's just a villainous looking dude. Like he just looks freaking evil. It's the big teeth. I mean, he's just he looks so shady.
Yeah, the thing about him is that he's played very villainous roles. He's more of like a tough guy. He the sad thing is that he passed away May 14, 2017, which was too soon in my opinion. But he played a great villain in the show Deadwood as Cy Tolliver. He was also Senator Rourke in Sin City. He has that charisma. I fucking love how he is in this movie as Curly Bill. I thought he did a great job, almost like a snake, basically, just kind of sneaky and just laughs at everything, laughs at everybody else's expense.
I think for his minimal lines that he had and his relatively short screen time, the dude has had a fucking presence about him. You got the impression very very early on that he was the leader of the Cowboys. That he was the head guy.
See, the thing is, I thought Ringo was the leader at one point.
No.
When I first started watching the movie, and then I found out that it was more of Curly Bill, but I always thought it was Ringo at one point, and he was kind of like the quiet leader in the background.
No, because even Curly Bill says, "Man, it's going to be bad when Ringo takes over."
Yeah,
when he's superseded.
Yeah, and what's kind of funny, we were kind of talking earlier about Wyatt and Ringo and Doc, and now we're talking about Curly Bill. There, you can actually kind of see the same dynamic from the Cowboys that you can see with the Earps and Doc.
Yeah.
Because obviously Curly Bill had he had the charisma, he had the leadership, he had the personality to be the leader of the Cowboys, but Ringo was obviously the brains.
Oh yeah. Yes.
No, it's a direct parallel.
He played a good prick. Let's just say that. He did a good job at it, but he was also...
He seemed like the type of person that would be a really good used car salesman. That sliminess.
Yes.
That able to...
He's the Tombstone
talk everybody into
everything.
Yes. Yeah. He just super slimy, untrustworthy, but able to fucking sell goddamn
Paul Giamatti in any role.
Ice cubes to a fucking Eskimo. All right. He just... That type of snakeness to him.
You remember how protective he was of Ringo when Ringo was doing that whole "I want your soul" and he was about to do a gunfight there, but then Curly Bill kind of just pulled him away. No, it's just the whiskey drink, the whiskey talk.
No. Actually, that's a callback to earlier when Ringo and Doc were going back and forth.
Yeah,
and Wyatt says don't mind him, he's drunk.
Right.
Curly Bill says the exact same thing about Ringo.
Yeah,
don't mind him,
he's drunk.
Yep. Oh wow, I didn't even think about that.
Yep. Mm-hmm. So that's what I mean. When you see there's a lot of the same dynamics between the Cowboys and the Earps and Holiday, back and forth, going with you can see it they're basically just they're on either sides of the law.
So that's why when you kind of raise a point here on who's the whole evil thing. I can understand the Cowboys being evil, but who's really the bad guys? They're both bad. The Wyatt's crew and also the Cowboys, because they're both doing bad things.
Well, I mean, especially
revenge. Revenge is a sin, and
especially after the OK Corral. There's one thing that happens during the OK Corral that really kind of shows that the Earps were on the side of the law and the Cowboys were not, and that's when Clan, being the coward that he is, which we're about to talk about, he throws up his hands and he pretty much dives at Wyatt, and Wyatt says either get in the fight or get the fuck out.
Yeah,
and if he had shot Ike, he would have been just as much of a criminal as them because he would have shot an unarmed man. After the OK Corral and after the Cowboys get their revenge by killing Morgan, the Earps go on a killing spree and they kill an unarmed men.
Yes.
Particularly that one scene in the opium den where the one guy being high as fuck puts like the barrel of the gun in his mouth and Wyatt pulls the hammer back and he fires.
Yeah. No, and that's actually there's no honor in that actually. Just
his only rule is if you were wearing a red sash, you were going to die. Period.
Which
armed, unarmed, it don't matter. You're wearing the red sash, you're dead.
Though, like when they show that thing where closer to the end where they're going after the Cowboys and they're putting a stop.
The
to
whole
them.
montage of all the killings.
Yeah, and there's the one where the dude's like on his horse and he's trying to get away and he realizes he can't and he takes the red bandana off and lets go of it.
That was Ike.
And then they back off. Like I thought that was so cool. I loved that part. It was a very powerful scene of.
But I'm still shocked that they didn't kill him with all the shit that Ike has pulled off. I mean, because he's gone back and forth. I mean, the whole part of the OK Corral when he kind of says, "I have no gun, I have no gun," and he goes inside I don't remember, it was a bank barber place or something like that. He finds a gun and starts going back out and shooting.
Yeah.
So I was really shocked that they let him get away with it and not killed him because it didn't make sense to me because they killed everybody else. Why didn't they kill him?
Yeah. Because he turned his back on the gang. That's where the mythical line in the sand for Wyatt is he wanted to break the back of the Cowboys, and either if you were a cowboy, you were gonna die, or you quit the Cowboys. Plain and simple. And the way to quit the Cowboys is
and it was like that. That was like that symbolic moment of okay, cool. I've got got the upper hand.
Whether that person's dead or whether that person quits the gang, that's one less cowboy.
Right.
Yeah. That's all Wyatt cared about.
Yeah.
Good point.
So, speaking of the Clant brothers, Stu, do you have anything else to say about Ike specifically?
Yeah, Ike, the actor did such a great job making you hate him. He really did. He embodied that cowardly, big mouth, right hand of of an actual bully, somebody who could actually do something, who would talk all that shit and stuff like that because he's friends with the biggest dick in the room or whatever, knowing that when it came down to it, he couldn't do a fucking thing. And he did such a great job making everybody hate him so viscerally. And
so is this your audition tape for the show?
Yes.
See, the thing is
Tombstone 2 Electric Boogaloo.
Okay. You see him in that role, and then you see the movie Avatar and see him Stephen Lang as Colonel Miles.
I was just going to bring that up.
He's a huge, bulky guy.
Yes.
He's a small, size. Plus, he was also in Gettysburg. He was actually very good in that too. He's in that. What's that movie about the quiet? The guy that's blind or something like that. The one that kills.
The Quiet Place.
Yeah.
No, not Quiet Place. No. That's the
Bird Box.
I guess don't say a word or something like that.
Yeah, something like
don't
that.
speak.
Don't speak or something like that. But when you see him in this role, it shows how much range that he has.
Yes, he's an amazing actor.
He did a great job.
Amazing actor.
Yeah, he's done a great job of what he's done.
Don't breathe.
There you go.
Yeah,
yeah, with the glue and everything.
Which somehow has the sequel he's the hero in the sequel somehow, which
I don't know.
It's really weird choice.
In the first
Exactly.
So, I don't know how they spun the hero angle there.
But apparently they did.
So a couple more characters. So Henry Hooker, played by Charlton Heston, plays a very, very small part. This is actually the first scene that they actually filmed for the whole movie. But he plays a small part as a farmer that takes in Doc when he's ill and allows Josephine and her crew to water their horses. It's a really, really small part of the movie, but it's always good to see the legend himself.
Yes, Charlton Heston is one of my all-time favorite classic actors. I know you're not a fan of some of the way that he says lines, especially in the original Planet of the Apes movie and everything else, but
it was a lot of overacting.
He was in a lot of Western. The reason why he was in this because he was in a lot of Westerns, and they usually in a lot of Westerns, modern Westerns come out, they always bring a lot of the old school Westerns actors and put him in there for a small role like that. So that's why they did that. I thought it was nice to see him. It was nice to see him on the screen like that. So
it was nice to see him, but it was a worthless character.
It wasn't needed. No,
the character did nothing to progress the story.
Well, I guess it was just something to make this cast as big as it was because there's so many fucking people in this movie. I mean,
it's an amazing ensemble film,
right?
And I know we were going to talk about all the different big names that are in this film, and a lot of which don't really have a lot of parts to it. Me personally, and maybe this is just me being a simple mind, I don't know. I like it, and the reason why is because you have that exciting little moment where you're like, oh, hey, that's so-and-so, cool. You know, and then you see, oh, hey, that's da-da-da. Like, it's cool. I don't know. I get a little excitement out of it when you say, oh, hey, that's Charles Easton. That's awesome. Even if they play a small role, it's cool.
You got a point
part
there.
Of it.
You got a point there because I'm the same way.
Easter egg, exactly.
Yeah, no, it's exactly because I'm like whenever I see Lloyd Kaufman in a movie, like, oh, it's Lloyd Kaufman, and I get all excited and stuff like that.
No, like in the Marvel movies, there's a couple of them where Lou Ferrigno
Stan Winston. When Stan Winston comes up.
Yeah.
No, sorry.
Stan Lee.
Stan
Winston.
You're right. Stan Winston.
What is happening?
I mean, that T-Rex, the alien queen. It's amazing.
Call it.
I don't know. It can't. No, you can't. It's just it's simple like name slip up. It's not.
Okay.
It's not fair.
Right.
No, but but stuff like that it's cool. It's a fun little thing that if you are a fan of that genre or that you're a fan of westerns and you see Tombstone, it's sort of a hat tip to those fans. Like, hey, it should, I don't know.
Well, it's a couple things, man. Like, so some of these stars did not become who they are now until several years later. You have to remember this movie's 28 years old.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I know.
We're getting old.
Okay, but you know what? All right, you guys ever seen the movies Any Given Sunday?
Yes.
Yeah.
The football one. Charlton Heston does another role in that one where it's just like literally like 1 minute, 2 minute role. Kind of reminds me of this. They kind of put him in the movie. He didn't need to be there. What did you remember that role?
Yeah, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about like where like there's characters in this movie that back in 1993 weren't as big as they are now.
Oh, okay. Okay. So we're past Charlton.
That's also true. Yeah.
Yeah, so
you're making a good point. Yeah.
Yes, so I'm talking about Billy Zane and Michael Rooker, like they actually had their time in the sun like a little bit later after the fact. So some of these characters were definitely like Kurt Russell and Val Kilmer, like those guys were fucking red hot at that time. But some of these other characters, we know them now, but back in '93, they weren't. Like Stephen Lang, nobody really know who the fuck he was, or he wasn't really known for really really major roles.
Michael Rooker is another one. I mean, the only thing he
said that.
Yeah, but I'm trying to remember. The only movie I can ever think of him that was Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer. Before that, I don't remember seeing him in anything else before.
What year
that.
was Sling Blade?
Well,
Sling Blade was in 1995.
Yeah, so Billy Bob would be another one then that really didn't have anything.
Yeah,
I think this was one of Billy Bob Thornton's first roles.
Sling Blade was Billy Bob's breakout role.
Yeah.
And another good example would be if you're talking about a star-studded movie that had people that were earlier in their time, would be the movie The Outsiders.
Yes.
I mean, you had Tom Cruise. You had so many big they're huge stars now.
Oh yeah, Patrick Swayze.
Yeah, but back then it was so someone from our time that knows all those big names. You watch a movie like that and you're like, holy shit, this is star-studded. Well, yes and no, because a lot of those guys at that time were still early in their career.
Thomas Hayden Church, which is another one you pointed out, because he didn't really get big until maybe early 2000s. I know he was in a show called Wings and
Lowell.
You remember him?
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry. I loved him as Lowell.
He was in Demon Knight and stuff like that, but he wasn't a big actor. Nobody really knew him that much, and now he's more well respected because he's an Oscar winner and everything else.
We got the guy that was in Sex and the City. He was in My Big Fat Greek Wedding.
Oh shit! Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, lots of that's a really tall dude.
I leave it up the girl to bring up the rom-coms.
But this is one of them.
But Lenny's
Tyler.
the one who loves those chick
I mean, they
flicks.
dance in the snow.
I love them. I said I'm not one of those guys that hates on
end
them.
of
You only
this.
said Friends is your favorite show. We know.
Swoon.
I like that.
Am I going to get my girl card revert because I'm just over this crap? I'm going to lose my girl card.
You got to transfer it to Lenny.
Well, Lenny, give it back.
All right, so lastly, I want to speak about Johnny Tyler, played by Billy Bob Thornton. There's really not too much to him. He plays a very, very short role, and he's really just a bully. Lenny, I think that you wanted to say a few things about Johnny Tyler.
Yeah, well, honestly, first of all, the cool thing about that scene is that I don't know, because he looked so different. I didn't even put two and two together that was Billy Bob Thornton.
He was fat
as fuck.
Yeah, and he had the beard. Yeah, he looked completely different than he did in Sling Blade.
He hasn't fucked Hal Berry yet.
Yeah. Yeah,
but also he didn't look right in Sling Blade. All right,
Halle Berry, not Hal Berry, but we'll leave it alone.
I always thought it was Hal Berry.
Hal Berry.
I'll be your Huckleberry.
Anyways, Hal Berry. So, anyways, that scene was so badass. I love that scene with Wyatt, and he completely just puts that guy in his place. And Billy Bob did a great job of playing. Let's put it this way: he did such a great job that it was so satisfying to watch him get slapped in the face and be basically made into a bitch. That was great. I love that scene.
You gonna do something or just stand there and bleed?
Yes.
Yeah, and you can hear Billy Bob just like breathing, like just panting in the background, like because he's scared. He's fucking terrified.
But he was trying to be all tough and everything, and thinking that and trying to show everybody that he's the tough guy, but really he wasn't. You could see that he was pissing in his pants.
Yeah, the guy was your classic example of a bully. He thought that his size was going to get him somewhere, and then here comes a guy who's definitely smaller than him, but absolutely would have whipped the living shit out of him if they went toe to toe, and he knew it. So
and also the part when he's coming out with the shotgun and Doc Holliday and them are just standing around talking, and they're not even scared of it as a
I brought my gun. Please don't hurt me.
Yeah, that excerpt though is also in the song "When Legends Rise" by Godsmack, and that is a fantastic song. And I didn't. It took me the first time I heard that song, I heard that excerpt, and I hadn't seen this movie in a while. I was like, I fucking know that from somewhere, man. And I finally figured out where it was from, and I was like, dude. And that made me love that song so much more. So hat tip to Godsmack for doing that because that was so cool. Really well done.
So all in all, man, like this movie has massive cast of characters. Like a lot of people that were famous then, they were red hot, like, and then they became famous later. And like my question for you guys is did they all really need to be there? Like, did you really feel like did you feel like there were any characters that this movie could have done without? I know.
Everybody knows the chick.
Sammy's already said Josephine
and the drug addict wife.
Like we could have done without the whores.
All the whores in this movie.
I visited a prostitute one time in the war.
Tell you what,
my life's been a living hell ever since.
You know what? No, other than the slut, I mean, really.
Thank you. Thank you.
Really, the only one I can think.
Do I smell a whore?
Booty call, fucking love
I just watched that the other day. I fucking love
what?
that.
That was the first time you ever saw that movie?
No. I was just watching
it.
I've seen that movie back. Oh man, that was
Which,
one of my
by the
favorite.
way, awesome conversation. How about 7? What's a booty call, Mom? Please stop looking at the Apple TV.
What does gay mean?
I know, right? These are the fun conversations spurred on by this podcast. Thank you.
Welcome to Parenthood.
But no, I think all the characters actually deserve to be in. I mean, it should have been in that movie. I think it worked out perfectly. I think it was the casting was great. I mean, every role, there were some roles that were extremely small, but it was worth it. I don't think there was any issue with that other than the slut. I mean, do you think so differently?
Well, I think the only character, once again, is Charlton Heston's character. I thought he was completely unnecessary. But I think if this didn't have such an ensemble cast,
they did that more of a tribute for
it was.
Westerns.
It was.
That's
it was just a cameo.
Yeah.
But it was. He could have been written into numerous other roles and taken the spot. He could have been the sheriff that got killed.
The one that got White, Sheriff White.
He could have been that and would have been just.
Oh, that would have actually been probably more powerful because you're like, not Heston.
So, but overall, I don't think if they didn't have the ensemble cast that they did, as large as they did, it wouldn't have built up the character study so well, going back to what we talked about in the beginning about how when you're younger, you like, black and white and stuff like that. But as you get older, you want to see more in-depth characters and make your own decision, the grays and stuff like that. And having
Stu's all about the 50 Shades of Grays.
Hey.
You want to see my red room?
I'm assuming that's a reference to that. I don't.
Pineapple.
No, I'm married. Unfortunately, I know all about those fucking movies.
So if it didn't have the ensemble cast that are all such great actors overall and embodied the roles so well, and it didn't delve into the grays so much of morality, the murkiness, it wouldn't have been as good of a movie. It would have been like, oh yeah, this was fun, but without the cast, it wouldn't have gone down as a great film.
Yeah. This is true, and in all honesty, even like the smaller side characters, again, like we mentioned, like with work and everything else, like honestly, I think it really kind of almost give you a glimpse into like the potential of these now like very hot like big name stars. And I don't think that if it had just been any run-of-the-mill people, you would have ended up with the same iconic film, I think.
All right, so Lenny, you're about to say...
well, I was going to just say that I do agree. I think that there's a couple things to be said with having so many, like big names and then beginner names that in a film like this. For one, I think, it's just fun for people who are Western fans or are movie fans in general. That, just to have Easter eggs like that. I think the other thing that's really cool about this is, and this is just me personally, when you see a film like this and within the first few minutes you see like big actors like that, even if it's for a small role, it catches your attention and you're like, oh, hey,
you know what?
So-and-so. And it's kind of a telltale that this movie obviously has some merit, or you're about to witness something that's potentially special because so many big names invested in it, even if it was small roles.
I have a good point. The first Expendables movie, when Arnold Schwarzenegger and Bruce Willis came in, where they were literally in the movie for like 1 minute, but people see that role. I mean, do you agree?
Oh yeah, I absolutely love those movies. Like call me simple all you want, man, but every single one of those movies, I was like, oh my God, that's so-and-so, and they're on the same screen. It was amazing.
So you fangirled at
God, absolutely.
I understand the point where the character did not need to be in there, but I think it was more for a, like I said, like he said, an Easter egg. I think it's worthy of being in there because of his Western background.
Like that, he could have done better in a different role and still
having a bigger role. I guess.
Not even necessarily a bigger role. Like that, he could have been the sheriff that died, who probably had a very similar number of lines. I'm assuming to what Charlton Heston had and ended up with his character. Probably had a very similar number of lines. Could have been that role, and that role needed to be in there because it served the purpose.
It was a catalyst, yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So it would have done better there instead of just making up some bullshit character that really didn't propel the story in any way, shape, or form. It was a waste of
he really didn't need to be there to give the horses water.
Yeah. But to go what you're saying, it's great seeing all these big names and future big names. I don't think that it's the big names. I think they're actually all really good actors. The Expendables, you can't say they're all really good actors.
No,
they're fun to see. They're big names.
They're good at kicking their legs in the air and punching people.
Yes.
I mean,
but they're not good actors.
Yeah.
They happen to strike gold with this, whether it was people new to the scene or already established actors. Almost every role that they cast was really fucking amazing actors that embodied that, and that's why it worked.
Yeah.
All right, it had nothing to do with big names or not, because like you said, a lot of them in the future didn't become big names until later on. So it wasn't the big name.
The thing is, Charlton Heston was a big name. That's the thing.
Yes, Charlton Heston was, and that.
But that's the only one I'm really talking about. The whole Easter egg thing. The other, but I understand what you're talking about the other actors that aren't there that really don't have a filmography like everybody else has.
No,
other than Val Kilmer and Kurt Russell.
I know. No.
Yeah.
All right. So, anybody else feel like there were certain characters that just the story didn't need? It really kind of sounds like the general consensus is that we all could have had like a 6-hour movie where every single one of the actors got their fair amount of time to kind of be fleshed out a little bit more, almost like a mini series, and we all would have been happy with it.
Actually, I could very much see this being a mini series.
Yeah.
Almost like maybe like a 6-part miniseries, like a 6-hour epic or something like that, where they flesh out all the characters. That would be interesting to see, and I'm sure it's something that would actually come down the road, knowing that they're trying to remake everything and turn everything into long miniseries or a long series, Dusk Till Dawn and stuff like that. Didn't they do that with Dusk Till Dawn?
Well, actually, that wasn't a miniseries. They actually did
the whole
multiple
series.
Seasons.
Yeah,
multiple seasons.
But I would actually watch that.
Like the Half Little McCoys that you talked about earlier.
Yeah,
that was a great. Now that's a miniseries. That was an amazing miniseries.
Yeah,
all right.
I watched every one of them.
You were on your edge of the seat and you appreciated it.
And that's got the famous Bill Paxton again.
Yes, and he did amazing.
And the thing is, Bill Paxton would actually be as a huge role because he's had a huge filmography of his past and all of his movies being great. Filmography.
Words are hard.
I give up. Aliens, Near Dark. I mean, Terminator, Predator 2. Because I think
Twister.
Only person to ever been killed by
was after
all three.
Twister?
It was still cool.
Yes.
Bill Paxton was in it. All right.
Lenny would totally be Dusty from Twister.
He'd be the fucking cow that never fucking showed up.
All right, so the shootout at the OK Corral, the thing that of course Tombstone is known for, and and at this point, we all know Tombstone, we love this movie. However, up until this point, there's been 50 or 60 iterations of the story of Doc Holliday and Wyatt Earp, and most of them actually ended with with the shootout at the OK Corral. They have the shootout, it's over 30 seconds, and the movie just kind of ends happily ever after. And this is the first movie where they really kind of well, actually, in fact, this happened and then this happened, this happened, this happened.
The repercussions that came out of that.
The reckoning, as they called it. It was fun. It's fucking amazing to watch.
I think it's within the first maybe 30 minutes of the movie, at least 30, 40 minutes of the movie. The OK Corral? The
no,
shootout?
no. It's about like an hour in.
About an hour in?
Yeah, Tombstone's a long movie.
Yeah, no, I know, about 2 hours, yeah. But I mean, I'm just trying to remember like how far in it is is it like in the beginning or is it right halfway, you said, so.
Yeah. No, the shooting in the OK Corral like is sometime like an hour or something like that, like into the movie. Like, and then you have like an entire hour after that about the like the fallout and like what happens after that and everything like that. And of course, like, you know,
vengeance.
And I thought that scene was filmed great. I thought it was perfectly. The fact that the shootout, the OK Corral, only lasted like 30 seconds or something like that. It was very short.
Yeah. So the whole scene is less than accurate to what actually happened. And this is all again going back to the records of that time. Everything's kind of vague and word of mouth. All according to eyewitness reports, which is fine because this is one of the best scenes of the movie. The real fight only lasted about 30 seconds, and only about 30 shots were fired. Wyatt was the only one that was not injured. The McClary brothers and Billy Clanton were killed, and Ike Clanton fled just as he did it in the movie.
Coward.
Yeah, exactly. The Earps and Doc were charged with murder. They actually were charged with murder because, like, you see, like, there's that one scene where I think the sheriff comes up and says, all right, you know, you guys have to be charged, and then they just kind of get away, or they just like they're kind of let off or whatever. Like, but they actually were charged, and then it was later found out that the killings were justified, and they were let free later on. At the end of the gunfight at the OK Corral, we're about 1 hour and 16 minutes in the movie. Do you think the movie could have ended here and not an hour later? In other words, or do you think the movie is too long as it is?
No, I think it's perfect. The way it got cut down, I think it's perfect. I really do. If it lost any scenes overall, it would take away the impact that each one of these characters had, and the moral grays that everybody walks the line in this movie. And
Disagree.
Okay. You're welcome. You're welcome to.
Color me fucking shocked.
Okay.
I like the movie. The way it is.
No. So honestly, I'm sorry. The whole ending scene with them dancing in the bleeping snow did not need to be in the freaking movie.
She really hates this chick, folks.
Oh my gosh!
But he was fulfilling Doc's
tie it
wish.
in a bow, call it a girl. Oh, it's great. It's romantic. No, it was a waste. It was totally
He was
a waste.
fulfilling Doc's wish. Doc's dying wish.
Yes, to get strange Pootie. Yeah,
It wasn't strange at that point.
Yeah, that
kinda
was
wish-
his dying
I
wish.
kinda
Get
wish-
strange
It
Pootie.
was. It is.
I kind of wish it ended right
Get that
at
strange Pootie with my blessing.
Doc's his deathbed right there. I thought the movie should have ended
I
right
thought
there.
it was going to.
Yeah, and then
It
they
should
should have
have.
did the whole little subtitles on
He
what
should have
everything
just
that
said,
happened.
"I'll be damned," and then that was like it. And then he goes, and that's where it should have ended.
No, that's
right
where I
there.
thought it should have ended. It shouldn't have ended at the whole snowy
Oh my god!
romance shit, whatever you call it. Yeah.
Trying to get the women monies. That's what that was.
Yeah.
That crap.
So speaking of the Doc being on his deathbed scene, did you guys know he actually had like that bed filled with fucking ice?
Yes,
So
to
that-
commit to it. Yeah.
Dude, that guy was a fucking legend. If you haven't seen like the Val documentary, holy
Really
shit.
good.
Amazon
Really
Prime, y'all.
good.
Yeah, it's really cool, but wholly depressing. Like,
Yeah.
holy shit. Like, so there's some like just like his excitement to play Batman, and then realizing that he was basically going to be restrained by the suit, and he couldn't emote, and he couldn't really like do anything with that role, like, and
It's not actually acting.
and then and then like it just kind of became like this huge like just disaster, and of course like Joel Schumacher like apologizing for the whole thing, and
Nipples at the bat suit.
yeah, and then of course like and then of course like
Never
like
gonna
his,
live that down. Never
the-
on the bat suit.
the what was it, throat cancer or something like that ends
Yeah.
up like taking away his voice and
Larynx,
everything.
I believe.
Yeah, he tries to like do this. He has this whole grand plan to have like this comeback tour, as like doing the Mark Twain one man show, which was actually really fucking good.
Yeah.
One of my favorite lines from that was like do you know what the difference between somebody who prays in church and somebody who prays in a casino? The people praying in the casino actually mean it. Yeah, it was a good shit. But yeah, and like he has like all these grand plans to make his huge comeback with it, and then of course he loses his voice and essentially loses everything. And you kind of get the impression that like that he's living in some kind of like pool house or something like that, or some sort of like like apartment or something. He lives right next to his daughter, and it's just like it seems like he's not like living on his own.
Yeah.
It's kind of sad. But beyond that, the ending of the movie, you could appreciate Wyatt as the main character with his charisma and like the hard justice that he doles out. But I really believe the story is about the friendship between Wyatt and Doc.
Yes.
Oh, definitely.
And how much they respect each other.
It's a bromance.
Yeah, the loyalty, the sacrifice, and the eventual like bittersweet end. You really felt something when Wyatt says goodbye to Doc on the hospital bed, as opposed to when he reunites with Miss Free Spirit herself in San Francisco.
Yes.
Oh, Lord.
They have their dance in the snow.
Oh,
You can see Sammy just rolling her eyes.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, can you hear it?
Yeah, I really liked how he walked in the room and said, I'm broke and I have nothing. And she says, fine, my family is rich. And the smiles all around.
Oh, yeah.
Yay for money.
Yay!
I'm rich, bitch!
I'm a rich
So
whore.
if that was one thing that you would change in this movie, would you change? You wouldn't even put that in there.
Oh, yeah, no, absolutely.
No,
yeah.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
It didn't need to be.
Should have been on the editing room floor.
Well, it should have been one of the epilogues, like that, like that Wyatt and
Yeah.
what's her fucking face, Josephine or whatever.
Yeah. Oh, great. Here's a little 2-second blur. Blurp, they're getting together.
And they
Fantastic.
try
Save
to
us
do the
15 minutes of
little
our
romantic
freaking time.
score in the background too. I fucking hated it. I didn't.
Such.
You know, the thing is, like I said, end right at his deathbed, then do the epilogue, and then show
would work.
all of them walking down with that music in the background, because that part I like. I love that ending right there where you see all four of them just walking and that music in the background, and it's very pulse pounding, the drums and everything. That would have been a great where we should have ended off right there.
Man moment.
Because really, that actually is the ending right there, compared to that little dance in the snow, whatever the fuck that is. But if
The chick ending? That's what that was. Legitimately.
So-
it was
so
the
literally,
chick
actually,
ending.
when you think about it did end good. It just didn't need that. If that scene was pulled out, it would have been 100 times better.
No, it was just you kind of left with with the worst part of Wyatt.
Yeah.
Here he was, he had left his wife for this other woman, and you obviously knew that their relationship kind of had kind of brought about mixed feelings about people.
Yeah.
So why end the movie on with that? It's not gonna make the movie have a really good ending, and I think it comes across it seems that generally speaking we all can kind of agree the ending of this movie is shit.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'll give it to you. I will. That could have happened.
So that brings us to the end of the movie. So let's go and get our rating system. So we're now going to be doing a different rating system, aren't we, Ron?
Yes, our new rating system is going to be, we're going to be doing, how people do 5 stars or 5 whatever. We're doing 5 pints of beer. So 5 pints of beer would be, greatest movie of all
Jaws.
time, to the lowest, to 1 pint of beer being, a shit movie basically. So
G.G.
split
Corman.
second. Wide range.
Oh, come on! That's not fair.
We should have a
Welcome
drinking
back,
game
Lenny.
with how many times Split Second keeps getting brought up, because that's the only fucking movie that gets brought up in so many episodes now.
I'd give it 3.5 pints of beer. Come on.
So, like I said, 1 pint low, 5 pint high, so it's a better range. So,
What about no pints?
I'm sure Stu would give Split Second no pints.
No, I'm good. We had this conversation before when we were coming up with this. I would actually give Split Second 1 pint just because of all the fun I've had shitting on how bad of a movie. It's brought me enjoyment just to shit on it.
Yeah, silver lining, folks.
All right, Tyler. So, what is yours?
Oh, it's 5, obviously.
All right.
Yeah, absolutely. This movie is a true classic, and it will be for a long time.
All right. How about you, Stu?
4.5. 4.5 pints.
So I would say I'd give it 5, and the reason why is because I'm not a Western buff. Okay, I haven't seen every fucking Western there is to see, but I've seen a few.
Yeah.
And this is, in my opinion, one of the best Westerns I've ever seen, hands down. Plus, this was the first Western movie that my dad and I went to. I went to theaters with my dad when I was a kid to see this.
Yeah.
And my dad was like, "This is important. This is going to be a good movie, and I want So I also will always have that sort of that nostalgic bond to this movie as well. So absolutely 5 pints. It was a phenomenal movie.
How about you, Sammy?
I love Doc Holliday. Doc Holliday for me obviously is 5 pints because Val Kilmer, the whole character, again, my spirit animal. However, for the whole film, because I cannot stand the women in this film and all of that, I have to give it 4. 4 pints.
4
I'm sorry.
for the horde.
4. That's right. The horde cost them a pint.
Which would be about how much it would have cost.
There you go. But no, for me, it would be a solid 4. I mean, it is an amazing film. It is a piece of American iconic cinematography, be it for not only Western, but just, I mean, pop culture, everything. I mean, like you said, Tombstone, it's just something that's not only part of our history, but it is literally it perpetuated the 50s. I mean, Cowboys, Indians. I mean, it is literally just the epitome of the Western. And so, no, it is definitely an amazing film. But yeah, no, just those couple of glaring things that I'm like, I just can't.
All right, so I would go ahead and give this about 4 pints. And reason being is there's some flaws in the movie, but there's a lot of great lines. The characters, the four main characters are amazing. The villains are great, but you know, some things didn't need to happen. Some parts I didn't care for. The score is okay. There's some really good sides of the score. There's some bad sides of the score, which I actually, you know, I mean, being the score whore or whatever you guys call me, score whore.
Score whore.
Yeah, I guess that's what it is.
But
overall,
I was unaware of this.
There's
Well, that's what happens when you disappear.
There's when
you're only a part-timer.
There's other westerns that I also like, more like Open Range and stuff like that. But I really enjoyed Val Kilmer and Kurt Russell in this movie. So yeah, 4 pints.
Absolutely.
So in closing, Tombstone brought to life some of the greatest larger-than-life legends of the Wild West. They were honorable and brave and give us something to aspire to. Most of all, Tombstone shows us that we share something in common with these characters: flaws. They were flawed individuals with vices, fears, and they would shuck responsibility for safety and convenience. And in spite of these flaws, we can rise above them and do better for those we love.
Hey guys, thanks for listening to our podcast, Barrel Age Flicks. We are so excited for the upcoming episodes headed your way and bonus episodes of The Small Batch, Sammy Selects, and now the new Tasting Room. If you like our show, please spread the word, give us a like, or leave us some kind of review on any of the social media pages. Give us a follow on Instagram, Barrel Flicks, or Facebook, Barrel Age Flicks. Our podcast is available on Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Anchor, Radio Public, Audible, Pocket Cast, Spotify, Castbox, YouTube, and now Pandora. Please shoot us an email at barrelageflicks@gmail.com with comments and movie suggestions for future shows or any other things you'd like to let us know. Credit to Carl Casey at White Bat Audio on YouTube. Man, your music is awesome. We thank you so much for that. It's great. You guys go ahead and check him out. I just want to say thank you so much. We hope to see you guys next week. Thank you so much for listening. See you then.